there to take.
Have any takers? We'll start right up here.
Congratulations to all of you on a successful launch so far. My name's Jim Siegel. I'm with Florida Media Now, and I'm curious about when the astronauts will have their first meal on this mission. And secondly, is somebody on the Earth here, back in Houston or somewhere, keeping track of what they eat during this entire mission, and how do they go about doing that? Do they tell them what to eat, or do they kind of select what they want? What do you think?
Well, let's see. I'll jump in on this one.
We'll be having communication.
Well, what I'll tell you is they do have planned meals, okay? So they have a planned meal today. I will tell you they're very busy. So ascent day is very tough. It's tough physiologically, and it's tough from a workload issue as well. And so this timeline between now when the crew goes to sleep, so MET of about 8:30, is pretty packed. They're going to snack. They probably have some pre-positioned meals. I know they did in their flight suit. Some of the snacks that they can use if they need. But I will also tell you that flight day 1 and flight day 2, you might not feel like eating a lot, and that's just part of it. Your body is acclimating to 0G. Your physiology is transitioning from a 1G environment to 0G, and it takes a little bit of adapting. So right now they're working hard. They are doing what they need to do. They sound great on the loops. That was really a good signal to us that they're feeling well. But just know that that's part of the equation, when they get on orbit. As far as the food being tracked, yes, we have a food lab, and we have folks at the Johnson Space Center tracking what they eat, the nutrition, the calories. It makes a difference. They do this on Artemis. They do it on Space Station as well. So we're well versed in that. We want to make sure that they're healthy, and we also want to make sure we know what they're doing, what they're eating, so we can also track that and make sure that they don't need any supplements or anything additional.
Thank you.
We'll head over to Joey.
Thanks, guys, and congrats on a clean launch so far. Jared, or whoever wants to answer, how were you able to resolve the communications issue, and do you have any guesses as to what might have caused that? And was there any part of the mission so far that appeared off nominal, or is everything looking good? Just curious to hear how things are going on that. Thanks.
Well, on the comms issue, and I don't know, there may be someone here that has a little more detail than I do of having to run around quite a bit, but I think they're still looking into trying to really understand exactly what was going on there. But it's restored, which is important. I think it just.
It was during handover to Tidris West. Sometimes that's squirrely ground configuration. You gotta get that right. So hopefully that's what it is. But we'll chase it down. But they were able to recover. They had intermittent forward and return links, so the burns that they needed on board it was never an issue. It was unusual for it to be dropped out for a couple minutes. So that's why we're telling you. We had a controller issue with the toilet when they spun it up, so we got to work through that. That's going to take maybe a few hours to troubleshoot. So there was also a water tank valve. There's 4 water tanks on Orion. There's a crossover valve that connects the 2 gangs of tanks. It's supposed to be open to ensure maximum flow. It was closed during ascent. When you shake the thing, things like that happen. So they're going to reset the valve. And then they had a recurrence of on Artemis 1, we had a latching current limiter failure on a piece of electronics, a transient failure when it gets exposed to radiation. They took 1 hit of those. We took about 24, 25 of those during Artemis 1. Again, normal, the onboard fault detection cleans that up, but we're just getting started, Joey.
Just to be clear, right, this flight test and a lot of what we're doing here is exactly this, trying to test out all of the things that require the crew interaction, right? And so we anticipate to have a lot of these. Well, that's what we're here for, work through them.
Sawyer?
Importantly, apogee rays burn. We're go. So they're going to stay in space.
Sawyer?
Thank you, Sawyer Rosenstein, NSF. I noticed that the slide wire baskets happened to deploy during launch. Is that something that was expected? And can you give any initial reports, at least what you've seen from the cameras, of how the mobile launcher is doing, given the hope to be able to quickly turn it around?
Yeah,
Do you have something on the baskets? I can talk about the turnaround.
The baskets are, they're supposed to get out of the way. That's part of the plan. So otherwise they take plume loads, and we don't like that.
So I can tell you, on the mobile launcher, our team has already been looking at a lot of the imagery that we have that was taken, both during and after, and assessing that, trying to get the condition. We've got teams, I believe, going out there. They might already be out on their way to take a real look. Some of the good things that we've seen relative to Artemis I, one of the issues we had was that the water that was supposed to be spraying down the launch pad, so that there were some issues there that didn't happen. We saw a lot of corrosion. The water was working, so things were getting washed down. We're still also going to remove some of the parts so that we can do some of that cleaning to make sure we don't have those corrosion issues. We haven't seen evidence of things like after Artemis I, like the elevator doors were blown off. We haven't seen that. So we're optimistic, but we got to get out to the pad. We got to look. We did a lot of changes after Artemis I, trying to harden the systems so that we can turn it around faster. We do anticipate there will be some items that'll need to be replaced. It's a pretty violent environment, but we're hopeful that that's minimized and will, as Norm.
No, on track, ready to go. Victor Glover's going to be flying it. Reid's going to be working the procedure with him. And cross-checking, and Jeremy and Christina are going to be looking out the windows, also spotting, cross-checking, using cameras and imagery, and it should be beautiful, so we can't wait.
We'll go right over here.
Yes, Bert Dicht from Ad Astra Magazine, National Space Society. Just wondering if the astronauts reported what the ride was like to orbit. I know with the space shuttle, it was a pretty rough ride until there was SRB SEP. Was this similar?
Have you heard?
I have not heard a report yet. I know we will get a report. Again,
Yes.
when MECO happened, immediately they were getting prepped to do their perigee raise maneuver. That's critical. Otherwise, they come back to Earth, which we don't want them to. So they got that. They are working to get their spacesuits off. They just got the ARB burn, which was very important. So now they're working to get their suits off. So they are very busy. Now later today, I anticipate they will call down and give us a full brief as to how the Proxox demo went, how the ride uphill went, and I personally can't wait to hear the comparison between this massive rocket and the shuttle.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Micah?
Thanks, Bethany. Micah Maidenberg, Wall Street Journal. Maybe for the administrator, I'd like to ask you, I know we're early on here, how you're thinking about success for this mission, defining success, a lot of tests ahead, and just what happens if you don't kind of meet that standard as the flight unfolds. Thanks so much.
Well, I mean, to me, success is undershoots and in the water safely after a 10-day mission duration, so no early off-ramps there. I think right now we're already getting good ECLIS data. We've never flown Orion with crew on board, so that's pretty important. I mean, understanding the Orion spacecraft is paramount in this one to progress on to integrated operations of Orion with a lander. Every day we're getting data. It says, it was mentioned from the get-go, this is a test mission for sure. No crew have ever ridden this before. We'll keep gathering data over the next 10 days. We'll share updates, but we'll call it success when they're in the water safely, and we'll start working on the next mission.
Jackie?
Hi. Right here. Sorry if I missed it. I just wanted to check in on the status of the perigee and apogee burns. Are those both finished at this point? And then I also wanted to check how best way to explain to the audience why we're doing that apogee raise maneuver and why we go into that high Earth orbit. Thanks so much.
Do you want to take it? I mean, I can certainly say we completed the perigee raise maneuver. That was done pretty quickly, as you heard, and the apogee raise burn should have already happened. That should have been happening while we sat here. They were getting ready as we were walking in. And then if you want to talk maybe about the rest.
So we go into a high Earth orbit. Roughly, the perigee is about 1,000 nautical miles, rough, give or take, of the Earth, 25,000. So it's pretty elliptical. That's getting us, everything we do is getting us set up for the translunar injection burn. And so it's getting these burns, it's all converging down to what we call TLI. So we got to get the Eclipse system checked out. We got to make sure we have our redundancy. We got to make sure these burns go off where they should go off, and get Orion and the SM configured exactly where it needs to be. So when it comes around and it's time for the translunar injection burn, off we go. And that takes us really, that puts us outbound to the moon. That's a real big commit point. And so you'll be hearing more about that tomorrow.
You might mention it not only sends us outbound to the moon, but it also sets us up for the gravity assist that brings us back. So we are set all the way.
Yes.
Once we make that burn.
Go right back here.
Hi, TJ Mosquero with the Epoch Times. Thank you all so much. Something that hasn't been really talked about is that the Space Launch System predates the Artemis program. We got going all the way back to 2011, so 15 years really invested in this. And just how does it feel to finally see it, launch with the human crew on board?
Yeah, I mean, right now, like I said, we're focused on the next 10 days. But I mean, I'll tell you, I'm incredibly proud of the folks that worked on this machine for as long as they did. And one thing we didn't talk about earlier was, that one of the big objectives is getting the organization and getting our qualification standards and getting our certification rigor up to the standard for crewed flight. That's a big, even though the mission is a complicated mission, moving the entire organization to a mindset of thinking about risk in the right way to fly crew is a big deal. And making sure that the way we've gotten the machine configured to fly crew with the resilience and the reliability we care about is also a big deal. So it takes time. I mean, we got a lot in front of us, but I mean, it's for the guys that were out there, there's a big celebration in launch control for the rocket guys. The rocket guys can go out and play now, but the spacecraft guys got a lot of homework. So they're going to go work on that. But yeah, for them, I could see it on their faces.
Jeff.
Jeff Faust of Space News. During the countdown, we heard controllers working through a few issues, one with the flight termination system, one with the launch abort system battery, and it sounded like there was a brief telemetry dropout. Wonder if you could provide a little bit more details about those issues and how you resolved them relatively quickly.
Yeah, so Jeff, the FTS issue was we were doing an end-to-end test. We typically have to confirm that we can get a signal from the range to the machine and then back. We weren't able to close that entire end-to-end loop. But the guys at the range, they were really quick on their feet. They swapped to a different range receiver, which is a slightly different heritage, but has the same fundamental algorithms on it, and they were able to switch over to that and able to confirm a good end-to-end signal, which is really clever. We had thought about getting a receive-only box that we had in the VAB and shipping that over to Patrick quickly so they could do it, but they were able to fix it on the fly over there, so that was good. And once we knew we could confirm the end-to-end loop of that command, then we didn't need that receive. We don't need to do that test more than once. We just need to verify the commands get on board. And so once we confirmed that command was there, then that we met all of our public safety risk. For the launch abort system, we had a battery, so 2 batteries, several temperature sensors on both batteries. We had one poke out of family. We want to make sure all of them are tracking within certain limits. But we could confirm, given the locations of the temperature sensors, where they are on the battery itself, that the reading was instrumentation, because there wasn't a credible physics-based explanation for why that sensor would be that far high. It was an order of magnitude off scale high from the rest, and so we were able to quickly vote that sensor out. So that was two of the major issues. But again, the team, this is what the training is for. This is what the practice is for, is to go into those things and knock them out quickly. So they did really well.
We'll go right over here.
I noticed there was a lack of public address announcing outside, and there was a lot of going back and forth when we realized there were some issues and we had to go back inside to find out, or we had to have our phones. Why was there no public address system available with loudspeakers outside?
referring to? We're not sure what issue you're talking about the public address. Okay.
Available to people outdoors, and I thought that was a lacking. Which
we'll take a look into that.
We'll definitely look into that. I wasn't aware that happened. So thank you for that information. That's new, and we'll definitely look into it.
We'll go right back here.
Thomas Moore, Sky News. Administrator Wiseman, as a fellow astronaut, what were your feelings watching your crew rising above Pad 39B? And do you feel that extra sense of responsibility for the crew as they head further into space?
I certainly felt that it would be, just from, I guess, my perspective in it, that, I don't know, it is far less stressful to be strapped into the rocket than to be responsible for it here on Earth. So I definitely had those feelings quite a bit. But, you know, you derive a lot of confidence from the process that leads up to this moment. I mean, literally the army of people that came together across NASA, all our contractors, all our partners to prepare for this, every step that leads up to it. This is what I, you know, was really honestly going through my mind through it, is all the testing that goes into it, the integrated testing, the flight readiness review, everything that goes into a flight readiness review. Not to mention you have a truly exceptional crew up there that have been training for years on this. That gives you the confidence to undertake this mission, especially knowing the implications that it is part of a much bigger program. This is America and our partners' return to the moon, and we're trying to do it this time to stay. So, incredibly important mission. Certainly felt the pressure of it, but it was relieved, you know, based on the confidence we have in the team here at NASA and everyone who contributes to it. Thank you for the question.
We'll come right up here.
Frederic Castel with France 24. First, of course, congratulations to NASA for the grand return to the moon. Mr. Administrator, I have this question that they ask me constantly in Europe and in the States. In the 60s, NASA was using just the slide rule to go to the moon, and they could launch almost every 3 months. Of course, they had more money probably, but what happened in 50 years? Why is it so difficult to make it again? What has changed? Thank you.
Well, for sure, we knew. Look, it's a very fair question. I know a lot of people ask it, not just in your country, but here in the United States. Certainly, financial resources are part of the equation. NASA's budget, if I recall, was somewhere between 4 and 4.5% of the discretionary budget during the space race. About a quarter percentage of that today. And I mean, to be very honest with you, I think competition is a factor in this as well. You know, it's a great way to, you know, mobilize the resources of a nation and concentrate on something extremely challenging, and that's what we did in the 1960s. And I think with absent some competition, we focused a lot on partnerships and all that we could do collectively with respect to science and discovery. But competition can be a good thing, and we certainly have competition now. I think that's why you're seeing us start to concentrate our resources back to the objective, and do it with a great coalition across the NASA workforce, our contractors, all our partners that have come together, our stakeholders in Congress and the administration who came here to witness this launch, is because they know we have competition, and this one's going to be close. And I think as a result, you're going to see a lot more progress, more so than you have in the, you know, since when this was originally conceived under Constellation. We're going to get back into the business of launching rockets on a regular cadence, and we're going to bring the world along with us. So.
We're going to take a couple of phone bridge questions for just a moment. Reminder that you can join by pressing *1 to get into the queue. We're going to start with Will Robinson-Smith from Spaceflight Now.
Hi, thank you, Bethany, and congratulations, everyone, on a good mission so far. Question about the upcoming TLI burn tomorrow. At what point during the day will the team conduct a poll on readiness to proceed into the TLI, and what are the main criteria that you'll be assessing to make that final determination? Thank you.
Okay, well, the TLI burn actually happens about the time that launch happens, so it's 1 day into the mission. So tomorrow, Eastern time, would be about 6:35-ish. Obviously, those burn times can change, so check that before tomorrow. But what are the teams looking for before TLI? We're looking to make sure that the life support systems work, that the vehicle's healthy, the life support systems have been checked out, they're ready to go. We assure that those are functional because once we commit to TLI, they have to function. And so we want to make sure. So that's why we spend a day checking out the systems. Ascent is, you shake, rattle, and roll a little bit, the vehicle. You saw that today. And you can imagine what that does to the systems. The systems, though, are performing very well. We anticipate that they continue to, but we want to get some track record on them before we do that. We also want to make sure we have redundancy in the system for comm, for environmental life support, propulsion, those type things before we embark on that TLI mission. So that's what the mission control team in Houston will be doing tomorrow. Jeff Radigan and his team, as the lead flight director, will be well into that. The teams are well versed on it. They have trained for it. They work very closely in conjunction with the engineering team, the mission evaluation room in Houston, where the engineers that have the intricate knowledge of Orion come together with the operations team, and together they work with the crew to make sure that the vehicle, is doing what we want to and accomplishing the mission objectives that we need to. But it always comes down to crew safety, vehicle safety, and mission objectives in that order.
I might also mention, as those teams are checking out all of those systems, there will also be a meeting of the mission management team that's led by John Honeycutt, whom I think many of you have seen before, and they'll be meeting tomorrow afternoon to hear all of the results from what's happened over the last day, in preparation to make the decision on whether or not we proceed with the TLI burn.
We will next go right back here to Manuel.
Thank you so much. Manuel Masanti with Exploración Espacial. I understand that the CubeSats are going to be deployed like 5 hours into the flight. Is there any chance we're going to see live images of the deployment? And then when is the crew, I know they're super busy right now, but when are they going to start using the flywheel machine? On its way to the moon, when everything is
so
more like...
The second question was to do when they start doing the manual as far as...
flywheel machine.
Oh, the flywheel machine.
Exercise.
Sorry, thank you, the exercise machine.
I guess after the TLI.
I'll do this exercise.
Yeah, I'll hand that to you, but I can answer the CubeSats. So the CubeSats are installed in the Orion stage adapter, which is actually a part of the upper stage piece, right? So once Orion separates from the upper stage, we'll do the ProxOps demonstration, right? And then once Orion has cleared and we're away, then they will be deployed. So Orion won't be there to take images of them, and once they are deployed, they each of them have their own plans for being able to communicate back down to Earth to various ground stations. They have their own communication plans, so we'll start to get information back from those individual CubeSats. So that's kind of the plan and the path forward on the CubeSat deployment and what you can expect.
We're going to take one more question from the phone bridge from Christopher Mick of the Hudson Star Observer.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all the teams. Thus far, I had a question from an earlier media availability with Jeremy Hansen. He made mention of if the mission launched on April 1st, they would be experiencing a lunar eclipse. And I just want to follow up on that, if that's where that would be happening in the mission timeline, and if there would be any video perchance of that happening, or is that just going to be on the astronauts' photography at the time?
So you may have to answer the question on whether or not there'll be the availability of what kind of real-time. I'm not sure what we'll have there, but the crew will get to observe the eclipse. This is pretty unique. It's kind of interesting. It actually doesn't happen when they're out of comm, so they will be having communication during that eclipse time. But during the eclipse, the moon will be blocking the sun. They will be able to see the sun's corona, which is kind of cool. So they've been having a lot of science lessons over the last couple of days to learn about that and the eventuality that we actually launched today. So they're prepared to make those solar observations. It'll be a pretty cool and unique opportunity. I'm sure we'll get some images down at some point. I just don't know if they'll be live.
Tarek.
Thank you very much. Tarek Malik with Space.com for the administrator. There have been a lot of comparisons of Artemis II to Apollo 8, a pioneering mission, daring, that sent astronauts on an untested crewed vehicle around the moon. And I'm very curious, given last week's ignition event and how that really laid out an audacious and ambitious plan to really explore the moon in a stepping stone approach way, where you see Artemis II in that plan, and basically the importance of riding on this mission before you can make that next step for next year.
So, I mean, no matter, I guess, how you slice it, it's the opening act for sure. I think there are areas where we're clearly combining, Apollo 7, Apollo 8 into a single mission. Which we should be able to do. There has been, to your question earlier, there's been substantial progress, over the last half century. We have tools. We've certainly been there before, so I would expect us to be able to get some, mission efficiencies through. But I would say that what we learn from this, for sure, will inform how we think about Artemis III. Now, there's certainly big picture objectives in that. We'd like to get the lander together. We'd like to test that out in Earth orbit before we go to the moon with it. But if there are things that we don't see, maybe it is comm-related issues, then we're going to try and fix those. And then we're going to want to validate that on the next mission as well. So, and that should be the idea, right, as we progress forward. I suspect when Artemis III comes around, we're going to learn a lot about the integrated operations that we'll want to validate and ensure is rolled into the subsequent missions. But yes, this should be a philosophy that we take across all of the grand efforts that we are pursuing right now, to not necessarily jump to the ultimate desired state, but to build up to it.
I'm going to jump right up here.
Hi, Richard Hollingham, BBC Future. Related to Apollo 8 in a way, really. I just wondered what plans had gone into a new Earthrise image. A lot has gone into the aspirational nature of this mission. Have you a plan? I assume you have a plan. What is the plan?
Oh, go ahead.
I do know that the teams have been looking at what the opportunities might look like. They've looked at the different launch dates, and so I know that they're really going to try to make that happen. I can't give you a confirmation on that yet, but stay tuned.
My understanding is they have been equipped with additional camera imagery capturing, equipment. So
we're going to do everything we can to try and make that happen. It'd be awesome.
We're going to go right back here.
Thank you. I'm from a Japanese news agency, Kyodo News. My question is to the administrator. The United States and China are competing over moon development. What significance does today's launch have for the U.S. and NASA? Thank you.
Well, it's certainly an incredibly important step. I mean, this is the first crewed mission into this environment in more than a half century on a rocket that has never flown human beings before, along with a spacecraft. So it's incredibly important because we're going to learn an awful lot from this to inform subsequent missions. So yes, this is the beginning. I can tell you, having had an opportunity to speak with the Artemis II crew after the State of the Union address, we talked a lot about what we wound up sharing with the world at the ignition event, about adding additional missions, accelerating production, building out a moon base. I think it was very energizing for the crew because they knew that they were, this is a risky mission for sure. Any type of new test flight mission going in this environment is going to be challenging, and they knew it was building up to something bigger. And I think that it was very helpful for them in that regard. So, and certainly it was very helpful for me to hear their feedback as well. I would suspect a point or two wound up in the ignition event from them. So.
We're going to go back here to the white shirt.
Thanks, Denise Chow with NBC News. I think for Lori or Norm, I'm curious what you anticipate could be some of the biggest challenges over the next few days, whether that's from a spacecraft or system standpoint or crew workload.
I'll jump in. Flight day 1 from a crew workload is pretty tough. Between now and TLI, we're working the crew really hard. In fact, when they go to sleep tonight, they're woken up in the middle of their sleep to do the perigee raise burn, and so their sleep's disrupted. They're hitting on all cylinders. They may not be feeling well on top of that. So we know that flight day 1 and flight day 2 up to TLI is really good. We know it drops off then. And so going into this, we trained for that. We did simulations for this. We put the crew in exactly that state. Now, they weren't on orbit. They probably were feeling great. But we got a good gauge, hey, are we working them too hard? And the mission control team is great because they're watching the crew constantly. They're watching their performance. And we also have a crew that's very good at saying, hey, enough's enough. And so together, we will make certain that we're doing everything in the best interest of meeting the mission objectives, making sure that we're not working the crew so hard that, they make mistakes or something of that nature. And again, we work as a collective team going forward. So this is our best opportunity, and they may add more stuff to the timeline before it's all done, and they may take some stuff out if we need to, but we adjust all the time on those things. So that's leading up to TLI. That's probably one of the bigger challenges, making sure we get those done.
I'm gonna go right up here.
Hi, Robert Perlman with CollectSpace.com. For the administrator, you mentioned the 53-year hiatus, and in that time, now most of the world's population wasn't alive for Apollo, like I think you and me. And I wonder if you have a sense of, if even this early in the mission, that this has captured the imagination of those people that have never seen anyone go to the moon before, on a world level, on a national level, and how important is it to NASA to capture that support from the public?
Yeah, I've said it many times. I absolutely, I think it's foundational for what we do here at NASA to inspire. It should be a component of every one of our missions. I've talked about, I think after Artemis II, you're going to have more kids that are going to dress up as astronauts for Halloween. We want to inspire and create interest in the next generation to grow up and contribute to this endeavor. Now, how have we done so far in captivating the world's interest in America's return to the moon? I don't know. You have to tell me. We've been rather busy the last couple hours. I would say, and I felt this way going into it, that when we got down to T0, a lot of people would be paying attention. I suspect when some of the imagery starts to maybe come back from the moon, that's gonna further bring people into this story. Right, and then we bring them home safely, and we start preparing for, again, the next chapter in the story. So, yeah, I think inspiration is extremely important. I think people, despite some of the commentary up to now, how many people really know we're going around the moon? I'm willing to bet right now a lot of people do, and I think we'll only draw in their interest further as the mission proceeds.
I'm gonna go right here.
Robert Coppinger, British Interplanetary Society Spaceflight Magazine. Commander Wiseman said during the crew news conference in September last year that when they get off the planet, they may only spend 3 or 4 days going around the Earth. What sequence of events would need to happen for that to occur? I was quite surprised to hear him be so specific about such a scenario. I know you all talk about it being a test flight. So what would need to happen for the mission to be curtailed in such a fashion?
I didn't cover the question.
So I think the question had, just confirm, it's kind of hard to hear, but the question is that the commander talked about one of the alternate missions where they maybe would stay in Earth orbit for 3 or 4 or 5 days.
Yes,
that sort of thing.
What would need to happen
so
for
one
that
of the scenarios that would have led to that is if for some reason during the launch that the SLS did not quite deliver us to where we needed to be, or the upper stage didn't deliver us to the orbit that we needed to be in. That would have been one of the scenarios. I think that's probably the main scenario that would have ended up in that one of those kind of alternate missions. Yeah, but I don't think we're going to need to worry about that, hopefully. But the other thing is, if for some reason we're able to stay, but we're not able to do the TLI burn, we would stay in Earth orbit. So there's a couple of scenarios where that could happen.
You're right back here.
Hi there, Joey Vars with the Gabber for anybody. In the weeks leading up to the launch, we were talking about some of the distance records and altitude records and speed records that would be achieved that were contingent on the specific day and time of launch. I was wondering if we had a better concept of what those might be now that we are successfully off the ground. Thank you.
Norm has that data for you.
Well, based on the predicts right now, assuming all the burns go as planned and the timeline is executed as we think it's going to be, it'll be on flight day 6. At an MET of about, 18 hours, 18 and a half hours. And again, check that as we get closer because burn durations and things like that matter. But that's where we will exceed or beat the Apollo distance record, or at least that's where we believe that's going to happen. So that'll be an exciting day, and we'll stand by to see what transpires.
You're right here.
Hi, I'm Hanju Yang from Kunmin Daily in South Korea. And first of all, congratulations on today's successful launch. And my question is for administrator. And this mission also carried a Korean satellite on board. From your perspective, why does a crewed lunar mission like Artemis II matter not just for United States, but for the global community?
I think we say often that when we undertake these type of endeavors, we never go alone. We go with our international partners. We have a Canadian Space Agency astronaut that's on board this mission. We are carrying a lot of CubeSats from our Artemis Accords partners, and we are going to continue to do this going forward. JAXA is contributing a pressurized rover, a major contribution to our efforts of having an enduring presence on the lunar surface itself. The Italian Space Agency, just a few days ago, we signed a memorandum of understanding for a habitation module on the surface of the moon, a component of the moon base. And to be honest, it was also a key component to the ignition event from last week. Half of the Artemis Accord partners were present. We spent a good portion of the second day talking together, recognizing that some of our partners can make contributions like a pressurized rover or a habitation module, and many others are going to work with their academic institutions and universities for science instruments that could wind up on the Phase 1 component to the moon base itself. So, or interesting tech demonstrations. This is something that NASA is extremely proud of, and will continue to do so as we continue to press forward under this program. So.
We're going to do last question here. I'm going to go over to you in the back.
It's Paul Brinkman, Aerospace America. Can you just talk a little bit about the propellant loading this morning? Was it flawless? Were there any leaks detected? Was it a repeat of the wet dress rehearsal? Did you learn anything?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it went extremely well. What I heard this morning, and Amit may have an update from later, but some of the leaks that we'd seen of the hydrogen during the tanking for the hydrogen, we saw leaks below 1%, which was significantly lower. Again, the seals that we replaced seemed to perform extremely well. We did a pressure test kind of partway through, and the leak went up to about 1.4%. Still, well within the constraints, which 16% is the bound that we have. So I think it performed extremely well. We actually, I think, finished the tanking early, from what I understood. So I think it went extremely well. So again, the seals that we had replaced out at the pad after wet dress number 1, I think that was proved to be very successful.
And with that, thank you all for coming out and covering humanity's return to the moon. Stay tuned for updates on NASA's social channels, including our continuous coverage on YouTube and NASA Plus. Go Artemis.
Thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston. Thanks for coming back to us. We are here in the Artemis II flight control room. The White Flight Control Room here in Mission Control Center in Houston, Texas, following along with the mission and 4 Artemis II crew members who are making their way to the moon. For those coming that were joining on the press conference, we'll do a quick recap of some of the activities that happened over the course of the hour that happened during the press conference. We did have a successful thermal roll ahead of executing the apogee raise burn. The apogee raise burn occurred with an updated time of MET 1 hour 46 minutes and 7 seconds. The duration of the burn was 18 minutes and 6 seconds. At this time, the flight dynamics officer confirms that it was a good burn, so they are on a good trajectory for staying in high Earth orbit for the remainder of this flight day and into next. The high Earth orbit puts them into a 43,730 by 0 statute mile orbit, which orbits the Earth approximately once a day. It's a 23.5-hour orbit.
Checking.
At this point, the crew is working through a number of steps to prepare for their first day in orbit, their first night. They have a number of activities coming up, including the proximity operations demonstration, where Integrity will separate from the second stage.
Integrity, those PCDs are located in Foxtrot 3 large. Integrity, good. String 1, helium clearing.
Integrity copies. And stand in the docking camera checkout, step 9. Would you like me to go ahead and configure for RPOD at this time?
Checking.
Continuing the recap, starting with the current discussion where Integrity is now beginning a thermal roll.
And Integrity for docking cam, yes, please configure for RPOD.
Copy.
Mission Specialist Christina Koch is setting up the docking camera ahead of the proximity operations demo for later today. Right now, the crew is in the middle of executing a thermal roll. This procedure allows for more even distribution of heating on the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, as well as the Integrity spacecraft. NASA astronaut Christina Koch is also working through troubleshooting steps of the waste management system that's aboard the Integrity spacecraft. The toilet fan is reported to be jammed. Now the ground teams are coming up with instructions on how to get into the fan and clear that area to revive the toilet for the mission. In the meantime, they're getting their contingency, their backup waste management capabilities, specifically for urine. the fecal collection of the toilet, that specific capability can still be used with the waste management system aboard Orion. At this time, here in the Artemis II flight control room, we're beginning the first handover of the mission. The Ascent teams, led by Flight Director Judd Freeling, are handing over to the Orbit 1 shift. You can see Flight Director Jeff Radigan to the left of Freeling. Right now, he is the one conducting the handover with his team, getting a read on all of the activities they have upcoming for the rest of the day. Namely, the one in the near term is a proximity operations demonstration. We are also anticipating a crossover of the tracking and data relay satellites.
Integrity Houston for GNC. System is still performing nominally, but we are updating unfiltered in BFS with channel 1 again.
Integrity copies.
That call from Capcom Stan Love addressing the guidance, navigation, and control system navigation source, specifically channel 1. Now, as part of handover to Flight Director Jeff Radigan to begin the Orbit 1 shift on Flight Day 1, they're preparing for the proximity operations demonstration. Ahead of that, there's an expected handover from the tracking and data relay satellites to the Deep Space Network. The successful execution of the apogee raise burn puts the crew in the high Earth orbit, which will take Integrity and its crew far from Earth, with the apogee being upwards of more than 43,000 miles. With the geosynchronous TDRS satellite network in a geosynchronous positioning around 23,000 miles, the crew of Integrity will pass the near-Earth network. With that, expected a little less than 24 minutes from now will be a transition from the TDRS to the Deep Space Network. The data rates gathered from the Deep Space Network may allow us to hop on board and get some first preliminary views of the crew prior to them needing to prioritize the proximity operations demonstration. We'll take a pause here and listen for some Orion to Earth communications as the team goes through their handover procedures, so we can listen in on the next steps for the Orbit 1 team.
Integrity Houston, about halfway through the eclipse, we're seeing all of our power predicts right on. Thank you for the help with the power down.
Integrity copies.
This is Mission Control Houston. Quick update on what you're seeing. This is this display is brought up onto the front screen by the control officer here in Mission Control Houston. It's called the Ascent PFD and is available at the first phases of flight. It includes toggled settings between tanking, the ascent phase on the core stage, and now the ICPS phase. As you can note from the display here, we're in a post-apogee raise burn coast. Right now the attitude for integrity is...
Integrity Houston, 1 minute to string 2 helium clearing. Also, your PCL Rev 1 HEO deorbit burn plan is on board. That's in slot 2. The name is HEO D/O Rev 1.
Copy helium clearing, and we see the burn plan. Thanks.
Outstanding. And integrity, 2 minutes to thermal roll.
Copy.
Integrity, good. String 2, helium clearing.
Integrity copies, and I've got some AGA readings for you, Stan, when you're ready.
Jeremy, also thermal roll is complete. Jeremy, go ahead with your AGA numbers.
Okay, Stan, everything is off scale low, and then CO2 is 3.7, O2 is 18.5, temperature, temperature is 70.3, and pressure is 14.65.
We copy all those numbers. Thank you. Integrity Houston for docking camera with an action on the DU.
Go.
For the docking cam, we see exposure set to 1 instead of 3. We think that'll be too dark. You can set that back to 3 on rpod.dockcam, HKey L4.
Copy. Thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston. The Ascent and Orbit 1 teams have completed their handover. Flight Director Judd Freeling sent some parting farewell words to the teams here, congratulating them on the milestone of getting the 4-member crew of Artemis II where they are now, at a mission elapsed time of 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Integrity, thermal roll complete.
Integrity copies.
The Integrity crew working through their procedures. You heard thermal roll complete to allow for even heating on the outside of the spacecraft. We'll do this periodically throughout the flight. Right now the teams here have, like I said, have successfully handed over. You've been hearing the voice of Capcom Stan Love for the Ascent shift. He'll be handing over to Capcom Amy Dill and Capcom and NASA astronaut Raja Chari. You'll hear their voices for the Orbit 1 shift and the beginning of proximity operations demonstration. From here, Mission Control Houston, that will conclude the Ascent shift. We'll hand over here at the PAO console to your Orbit 1 commentator, Leah Cheshire Mustachio. She'll take you through the proximity operations and some of the activities that lead to the end of the cruise day and the beginning of their sleep period. That's it for the Ascent team. This is Mission Control Houston. Stand by as we allow a few minutes to reconfigure the PAO console and provide 24/7 commentary.
Integrity Houston, com check on Peltor. Houston Integrity, com check on Peltor.
Hello, Christina. You're coming in louder. How me?
Amy, great to hear your voice. I have you the same. Good to hear that our Peltor is a little louder than the mic stub.
We copy. Integrity Houston, 5 minutes to DSN handover.
Integrity.
Integrity Houston, ICPS blowdown in progress. Integrity Houston, voice check on DSN.
Houston, Integrity has you loud and clear on DSN.
And we have you loud and clear as well, and while we were handing over, ICPS was in blowdown.
Copy all, and we have 2 GNC cautions on the board for right RHC. Let us know if you see them.
Copy, Christina. We're seeing the same. We think we might have a channel failure. We are taking a look. Integrity Houston for camera streaming.
Go ahead.
All right, we are ready to join you on board if you're ready for us.
Houston, we are ready for you to come on board.
Copy. We'll let you know when we join you.
For the first time since they arrived in space, you're looking at a live view of the Artemis II crew in the Orion spacecraft.
Is nice and stable.
The crew inside Orion is continuing to configure the cabin and prepare for the upcoming proximity operations demonstration, which we expect to start shortly.
In Authority DAP, it's quite nice and very responsive. And the camera is also better than what we were flying in the sim. I'm getting very slight
And as you can see, it's pretty dim in the cabin right now. The lights are dimmed as the vehicle is in an eclipse.
We will be less than 4 degrees. I'm going to start left since it's just to the left. So here comes 2 left, 1, 2, left. Good motion. Looking for 1 full degree, so I'll start at the center pack. ICPS is centered, waiting for 1 degree to the right. Now I'm going to give it 1 down, if that's okay.
And Integrity Houston, we have joined you on board. It is a little bit dark from our view, so you are free to turn up the lights for a hello.
All right, and then when I get 1 degree of motion, copy. There is 1 degree hack. 1, 2, 3, 4 right.
Houston, I just want a quick comm check. Can you hear this transmission?
2 left to center, copy. Again, very responsive.
Welcome on board.
Authority DAP is
right now,
quite responsive.
Christina
It's very intuitive. I got about a quarter of a degree, maybe even less than that, of overshoot, starting at 1 degree of movement. And I've got good motion, half a degree back toward the center line, and I will capture it with 2 lefts. I'm going to lead that by about a quarter of a degree. Here comes the first 1, 2, and I'm going to give it. I'm going to let those down slowly correct themselves.
Wonderful, Reid. It's spectacular to see you all, and
again,
so far so
like
good with the day.
Very slight rumble, like just driving over a little slightly rocky road, and the 2 lefts are in. We've stopped on the center line laterally and vertically.
And we're looking forward to a good run-to-go prox operations here in a few minutes.
Here comes 2 downs. 1, 2. Start counting.
And on that note, Reid, we have the prox ops pad whenever you're ready to copy.
2.5 degrees wide on ICPS.
And Houston, Ike keeps talking about the rumble, and I think from the previous spacecraft that we have flown, Soyuz and the SpaceX Dragon, we're used to a more distinct. If you can give us about 2 minutes, we'll be ready to copy. This is just more of a gravelly road.
Standing by.
Very calm. There's not a lot of dynamics on board. Very smooth vehicle.
1 degree of motion. Here comes 1.
Copy
2,
observation.
3, 4 up. Okay, there's a quarter of a degree overshoot, maybe a third of a degree, and we've got motion is stopped. Waiting for motion. Yep, this one is taking a little longer. Motion is tracking back the other direction now. We'll go 2 downs to center. We also had an up correction going in, so I think I didn't take that out before we started this. That may have contributed to it overshooting a little bit more than the previous. Yeah, we started with a little bit of Z motion due to that correction earlier on.
Welcome to the Artemis Flight Control Room. I'm NASA's Leah Cheshire Mustachio, and I'm excited to be your Orbit 1 commentator.
2.5 degrees wide.
We're hearing some comms from the crew as they are preparing for their proximity operations demonstration.
Okay, gonna put that in
And
now.
we
There's
have
one
just
down.
had, for the first time in over
And we are
50
centered.
years, humans join the Deep Space Network. Now, we're used to people being on the Near Space Network, the Tracking Data Relay Satellite System with the International Space Station. But again, first time in 50 years that we will have crew traveling far enough to be on that Deep Space Network. These are our first views of the...
Integrity, we are ready for Proxops pad.
Equal.
Integrity, all times MET. ICPS maneuver to SEP, attitude. 3 hours, 18 minutes, 34 seconds. ICPS SEP, 3 hours, 22 minutes, 24 seconds. ICPS thermal turn, 4 hours, 03 minutes, 34 seconds.
Okay.
Depart no later than 4 hours, 30 minutes, 37 seconds. USS-2 TIG, 4 hours, 50 minutes, 07 seconds. Concur. Mandatory burn. ICPS disposal burn, 5 hours, 00 minutes, 11 seconds.
Okay, I don't need
High
to ref.
copy.
Okay. All right, control stick steering. Engaged. Hold inertial. Diaphragm is ref.
Okay, Amy, we copy all, and we are hopping over to 13.1.100 Prox Ops FTO.
Just trying to get that docking target background, so I'm going down exposure 1 now. I can see the
confirmed loud and clear.
Target clear. Ready. Okay, 3 pulses to the right coming in. 1, 2, 3. Good motion. 2 for 17. 5 degrees for 17. Right, no cross coupling, no rate in other axes. 10 degrees for 17. Good motion. See ICPS center docking target 12 for 17.
The degrees you hear Glover reporting are the amount the ICPS is taking up on the docking camera, which you see in the left side of your screen.
All right, roll rate is at 0. Ready.
Mission Control Houston just pulled go for the Prox Ops demo. And the crew aboard Orion is starting to get into the configuration for that demo. Another live view here in Artemis Mission Control. So with proximity operations coming up, first we will look for separation from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. That is the stage that propelled us in the perigee raise maneuver and the apogee raise burn.
No impacts to Prox Ops demo. Good to continue.
101, post BFS engage actions open on step 2.1, but we are taking no actions in that procedure. Moving on.
Set.
Copy, and I have a story on the right RHC when you're ready to hear it.
Go up. I'm going to go right.
We'll call you in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Standing by.
Roll right and hold. All right, roll right. It's coming in. Roll good motion, no cross coupling.
As we mentioned, the crew is
only roll rate from the Peltor headset connected to seat 1 AIU. 2 for 5.
Loud and clear, Victor. Tell me.
I have the same, thank you. Easy to anticipate. And stopping at 5. Was able to stop right at 5.
This view coming live from Orion, now just 3 hours and 10 minutes since liftoff today from Kennedy Space Center. As you have heard, Mission Control Houston is go for the crew to conduct the proximity operations demonstration. Again, we will see the separation of the interim cryogenic propulsion stage coming up first in just under 12 minutes. As we saw when we had video of
3. Good motion. All right, roll H. Release for 0. Back to the center. 5 degrees for 17. Roll is slow but nice and predictable. Easy to anticipate and stop with precision. No cross coupling, no rate in other axes. 10 degrees for 17.
Copy.
Good motion. See ICPS center docking target 12. You're 2.6 degrees wide.
The degrees you hear Glover reporting are the amount the ICPS is taking up on the docking camera, which you see in the left side of your screen.
All right, ready. Roll rate. Blank is H is 0. H is in pulse. Ready. It's just greater than half a degree low. Aligned. 3x. Pitching up. 1 pulse. Giving it 1 down. 1 left. For 1 degree.
Houston, roll.
Pitch up.
Alignment complete.
Nice gravel road. And there's 1.
Copy.
Anticipated. Stopped it right on that 1.5 degree line. Okay. And returning it to the pitch down. Stop just greater than half a degree low. Stop.
No
Very
impact
nice.
to ProxOps demo. Good to continue.
Very tight, very responsive. I was able to stop it right where I started it.
Integrity.
Point 2. Set. Okay, let me center ICPS and get stable. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go right. Pitch going back to discrete. Okay. Roll right and hold. 0.7 degrees low. All right, roll right. Pitch up and hold. All right, roll good motion, no cross coupling. It's only roll rate. And very responsive, also discrete. It's down and hold. 2 for 5. Back to initial vertical position. Stop. Captured. Very nice. It is slow, easy to anticipate. Ready for yaw to pulse. And stopping at 5. Was able to stop right at 5. Going right, 1 pulse. Using integrity motion. Sorry. Okay, going there's left. All right, and yaw left. Motion. 1 pulse. It's all it right at 1 degree. Very responsive in yaw as well. No rates in pitch or yaw. 2 left, 1 pulse. Good motion. No cross coupling. And 1 degree. Stopped, overshot about 1/8 of a degree. All right, roll back to original release. It's 0. Back to the center. Roll is slow but nice and predictable. Going back easy to anticipate and stop with precision.
Houston, roll checkout is complete.
Copy.
Yawing right and hold. You're 2.6 degrees wide. Good motion, no cross coupling. 1/2 degree. There's 1 degree stopped and overshot about 1/8 of a degree, but nice capture. Ready. Blank edge key. I'm getting a little of a bounce here. I think that, not sure, it's most likely from us, the greater than 1/2 degree low. This vehicle wobbling in yaw. So ICPS is moving, it's wobbling left and right slightly in the camera view. Up. 1 pulse. It did stop at the 1 degree of motion. For 1 degree precisely, but we got this bobble just now. Going back to initial position by yawing left. And there's 1. Anticipated, stopped it right on the 1.5 degree line. Okay, there's no wobble. Returning it, stop, pitch down. Released. See if that bobble comes back. Just greater than 1/2 degree. There is a slight bobble, maybe dead banding or very nice. That just hit camera or this vehicle. Very tight, very responsive. Was able are you guys seeing that where I started? Are you seeing the bobble in the docking cam video?
Victor, we are not, but it might be because it's a low rate for us.
Okay, copy. The pitch going a little bit of a lateral oscillation there.
Houston, authority DAP checkout complete, ready for step 12.
0.7 degrees low.
Copy, go to continue, and also, once you get there, you are go for forward target approach to 10 meters.
Stopping it. And very responsive also in discrete.
Integrity.
Pitch down and hold. Back to initial vertical position. Stop. Captured. Copy. Very nice. No. Ready for yaw to pulse. The DAP is going to course. It is showing course. Going right. 16 in, starting now. 1, 2, 3, good motion. 4, 5. There's all right, and y'all left 1 pulse and stopped it right at 1 degree. Very responsive in y'all as well. 14, 15, 16 ends.
Houston approach was initiated from approximately 2.
That's 1 pulse, good motion, no cross coupling. And I'm going to give it 1
Copy,
degree.
decimal 7.
Stopped, overshot about 1/8 of a degree. All right, we're coming up to on 3 degrees wide. Stand by for 3 degrees. Hack 3 degrees wide. Y'all going back to discrete. Gave it 1 down. It doesn't seem to be tracking down, though. I'm going to give it 1 more down in course. Y'all ain't right and hold. 1 degree. Good motion to that one. I'm going to give it 1 degree. There's 1 degree stopped and overshot about 1/8 of a degree, but good corrections. Good. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm getting a little bit bounce here. I think that, not sure, it's most likely from us, the camera, or this vehicle wobbling in yaw. So the ICPS is moving, it's wobbling left and right slightly in the camera view. It did stop at the 1 degree of motion, quite precisely, but we got this wobble just now. Going back will be 0.5 degrees wide, stand by. While it's 3.5 degrees wide, there's no wobble. Stop. Released.
The crew received the go to move in towards 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Over just the camera or the vehicle fluctuating. Are you guys seeing that, Houston? Are you seeing
again,
the,
Pilot Victor Glover flying
video?
the Orion spacecraft right now.
That will be at 4 minutes. I'm sorry, 4 degrees wide.
Victor, we are not, but it might be because it's low rate for us.
This is all to teach us about how Orion flies manually in space and prepares us for future missions when we'll need to dock with a lunar lander.
Ready for step 12.
Stand by for 4 degrees wide.
Copy, go to continue, and also, once you get there, you are go for forward target approach to 10 meters.
Course, and here comes 10 outs. 2. 5. Copy. 10 outs. ICPS is still stable. That little wobble is lateral course. It is showing course induced. Again, 16 in starting now. The vehicle 2, but overall it's pretty stable. Very minor oscillation.
Houston, 75-meter braking is complete. Going into .cam exposure check.
Copy.
14, 15, you got 16 ends. 1 pick that fine.
Was initiated from
fine and 1 right. Okay, stand by. I'm going to give it 1
Copy,
down, 5
7.
1950. All right, we're coming up on 3 degrees wide. Stand by for 3 degrees. Hack 3 degrees wide. Gave it 1 down. It doesn't seem to be tracking down, though. I'm going to give it 1 more down in course. All right, coming up on 5 degrees wide. Responding to that one, I'm going to give it 1 left in course. 5 degrees wide, 2020. Good corrections. Good, are you okay? Okay, next action
This
is
view live
when the
inside
center
Orion.
target is 1 degree wide. It is about half a degree wide right now.
Lighting adjustments in the cabin.
Copy. Thank you. 6, hack. 24, 6
Cab
degrees
camera
wide.
looks good to us. Thanks.
Fine, I'm going to go 1 up. 8.
Integrity.
Tack will be at 0.5 degrees wide. Stand by. Copy. Going 3.5 degrees wide. 15, course. 1 out.
The crew received the go to move in towards 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
1 up. Stand by for 6.5 degrees wide. Excuse
again,
me.
Pilot Victor Glover flying the Orion spacecraft right now.
That will be at 4 minutes. That's 5.5 degrees wide. That may have been the reason we thought. I skipped 1 on you. I skipped 5.
This is all to teach us about how Orion flies manually in space and prepares us for future missions when we'll need to dock with a lunar lander.
Stand by for 4 degrees wide. We did a mistaken slowdown, so going back at 19 and 1 in. Not as far ahead as we thought we were. Course, and here comes 10 outs. 2. 5. All right, coming up on 6.5. Hack. 6.5. 10 outs. Fine. ICPS is still stable. That little wobble lateral to a little yaw induced. Again, can't tell if that's the camera or the vehicle. Good grief. But overall, it's pretty stable. Very, very minor oscillation. That was 6 degrees wide, the last hack I gave you.
Going into dot cam exposure check.
Copy.
Copy. You got it. One pick that fine. You're fine, and one right. I think I skipped through 6.5. Stand by for, I'll give you 7. Hack, 1950. All right, stand by for 7 degrees wide. ICPS is 7 degrees wide. Hack, 2245. All right, and ICPS, the center docking target is about 5.7 degrees wide. And hack, 5 degrees wide. Next hack is 7.5, correct? All right, 7.5, hack. Okay, next action is when the center docking target is 1 degree wide. It is about half a degree wide right now. Right, about 0.75 degrees wide on the center docking target. Hack, 6 degrees wide. Left and fine. Fine, I'm going to go 8 degrees. Hack, 2322. All right, I'm going to transition to center docking and target. Out. Your course, 0.8 degrees wide. Next action will be course and 6 outs when it's 1 degree wide. 1 up, stand by for 6.5 degrees wide. There's something floating to the right of ICPS. Excuse me, pulled off the screen. I may have skipped only 5.5. 0.8 degrees wide. Hack, that's 5.5 degrees wide. Quite large. That may have been the reason we thought I skipped 1 on you. I skipped 5. All right, I'm going to course. 1 up, 1 right. 0.9 degrees. Okay. All right, 1 degree wide. Here comes 6 out. Did a mistake in slow down, so going back course and 1 in, 6 out. Not as far ahead as we thought we were.
30 meter braking complete.
Copy.
This view from Orion's docking camera looking at the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Coming up on 6.5.
They have completed their 30 meter braking and are flying in towards 10 meters away.
You're fine, going up, 2 ups, and car. So you're looking for 3.5 plus or minus a quarter of a degree. So that was 6 degrees wide, the last hack I gave you. All right. It's about 1.2. I think I skipped through 6.5. I'll give you 7. All right, stand by for 7 degrees wide. ICPS is 7 degrees wide. Hack,
this view from the docking camera is a zoomed-in view at this time. Again, we are coming in. We were at 30 meters, wide. Moving in toward 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Next hack is 7.
And again, we are seeing a docking target, but this is practice.
Right, 7.5. Hack.
We are not docking to anything today. This is a test of how Orion flies when completed manually by the pilot.
About 0.75 degrees wide on the center docking target. That is definitely worth the left and fine. 8 degrees, hack, 2322. All right, next hack will be at 1.5 degrees wide on the center docking target. I'm going to transition to center docking target, close to the center, so I haven't had to make many corrections. 8 degrees wide, nice and stable next so action far. Will be, we are at manual exposure 1, course, which is and 6 out. I don't know what the sun angle is right now. That seems to be the best view. There's something floating to the right of ICPS. Did you see that? Float off you see the shadow of the center cross? It's a little low. 0.8 degrees wide. Right there. Quite large. Maybe these seat belts weren't a good idea because now I can't see it. All right, next one will be 1.5. Stand by. 0.9 degrees. 1 degree wide. Here comes 6 outs. 1, 2, 3. 6. 1.5 degrees wide at 2650.
Copy.
And then at
this view from Orion's docking camera looking at the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. They have completed their 30-meter braking and are flying in towards 10 meters away.
And I'm jealous I can't float up to the window and see it out in front of us. Copy, looking for 2.5 plus or minus a quarter of a degree. Coming up on 1.75 degrees wide. It's about 1.2.
This view inside Orion as the crew is using their iPhones to take pictures out of the window of the
1.75 degrees wide at 2740.
They're able to see the interim cryogenic propulsion stage outside the windows.
10-meter arrival next, so once we get to 2.25
this view
degrees
from the docking
wide,
camera is a zoomed-in view at this time. Again, we are coming in, we were at 30 meters, moving in toward 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. And again, we are seeing a docking target, but this is practice.
5 degrees wide hack.
We are not docking to anything today. This is a test of how Orion flies when completed manually by the pilot.
Center docking target is 2 degrees wide.
Standing by for Orion to arrive 10 meters away from the ICPS.
Copy. I'm going to go ahead and go to course now. And I see we're at about 2.25 degrees wide on the center docking target. Nice and smooth. It is actually holding the window to start braking close to the center, so I haven't had to make many corrections. 1, nice and stable so far. 2, we are at manual exposure 3, 1, which is interesting. 4, what the sun angle is right now. Induce a lot of that seems to be the best view, so not a lot of cross controlling there. And waiting for closure to stabilize. I'm showing us the shadow of the center cross. It's a little low. 0.25. Fine, just to center us up. Maybe these seat belts weren't a good idea because now I can't see it. All right, next one will be 1.5. Stand by.
Copy, Reid. You are go to execute forward target handling qualities test.
Picking up at step 13.
We're 2.3 degrees wide. We're in the window. Pack 1.5 degrees wide.
Is now moving into some precision translation.
Copy. And then we are within 2 degrees, definitely. Minus quarter of a degree or two things. Course 4 outs. The fly out. Jealous. I can't listen to the window and see it out. Translate down. Just a little bit. I mean, we're talking about a fraction of a degree. Going to 6x. And I'm waiting for that cross to get centered, and then I will pitch up.
Again, Glover is able to
1.75 degrees wide, right there. Stop it. Now I'm going to pitch up.
This view inside Orion as the crew is using their iPhones to take pictures out of the window looking at the ICPS that you see in the left of your screen.
740, easy to do, and I show us as a flyout complete.
They're able to see the interim cryogenic propulsion stage outside the windows.
10-meter arrival next, so once we get to 2.25 degrees wide, we're in the window to start braking. Course and 4 outs. Coming up on 2 degrees wide. Copy. Affirm. 2 degrees wide. Turn fine. Back 328 to 20.
This is a zoom view from the docking camera. Standing by for Orion to arrive 10 meters away from the ICPS.
Copy. I'm going to go ahead and go to course now.
We are about 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
5 degrees wide. Ready. I think we're in the window to start braking. I'll start in the center and start the outs. 1 out and fine. 2, 3, 4 outs. That did not induce a lot of rotation, so not a lot of cross controlling there. And waiting for closure to stabilize. I'm showing us about 2. Yeah, I see opening. Okay. So we're centered. 1, 2, 5, 2, 3, left pulses just to center us up. We're in fine. Going right.
Houston, 10-meter arrival confirmed.
All right, there's a half a degree, good motion, a little bit
Copy,
up,
Reid.
down,
You are go to execute forward target
ICPS.
handling qualities test.
1, 2, 3 to null, about a tenth of a degree overshoot. We're 2.3 degrees wide right now. We did have some upward motion on ICPS.
Is now moving into some precision translation.
Copy. We are within 2 degrees, definitely. I could do 1 or 2 things, but I'll give 1 more out and fine. Okay, and 3 right. Here comes 3 right. The fly out. Okay, yep. I'm going to set it up, so I'm going to go down, 3 translate right, down, bringing it back to center. Good motion. Just a little bit. I mean, we're talking about picking up a little bit of upward motion. 2.7 stable on the range, down to 6x. And going to capture it for that cross to get centered, and then I will pitch up. 2.
Again, Glover is able to...
Do you feel that? Stop it. Now I'm going to pitch up. Okay, little rumble. Felt something.
Glover is using the docking camera on Orion, looking at the ICPS that you see in the left of your screen.
That was very easy 2.6 on the ICPS is up. We're going to go 3 pulses up. I'll start measuring from the center. 1, 2, 3, up.
Houston, angular alignment complete, ready to begin fine handling qualities test.
There's center, and we'll null 1 degree low. Overall, the control is very responsive. Not sure if it's the dead banding half a degree good motion, but I am doing a little bit more lateral correcting to keep it centered. And there's 1, 2 to catch it. 3x zoom, about a tenth of a degree overshoot. We got some lateral
zoom view from the docking camera on Orion.
To correct that. All right, 3 downs to bring it back to center. 1, 2.
We are about 10 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Range is good. We had to do some opening half a degree. Good motion. Starting to take out the 1, 2, we're out and fine. 3 downs, and we are centered. And so like that, it does seem to move a little bit more, but it's very responsive in the correction. So I was able to stop it right on the center. Yeah, holding at 2.6. I see 6x zoom going in. Okay. So we're centered. 1, 2, 3, left pulses. Ready. Good motion. All right, half inner circle for 60 seconds. All right, there's a half a degree. Good motion. A little bit up, down, good range, or up in, on ICPS. And there comes 1, 2, 3 to null. About a tenth of a degree overshoot. We're looking pretty stable right now. We did have some upward motion on ICPS. I'm going to correct that out as well. Happy. Minute. I'll give 1 more out and fine. Okay, and 3 right. Here comes 3 right. 1, 2, 3 right. Bringing it back to center. Good motion. Picking up a little bit of upward motion. 15.7 stable on the range. Center on center. And going to capture it with left. 1, 2, 3. Here centered. Do you feel that? All right, going to on and on. A little higher gain there. Definitely requiring something more here. Just a second ago. Inputs. On 2.6 on the range. Stable. Right, we're going to go 3 pulses minimize up inputs and see if I can start measuring from the center. 1, 2, 3, up. Copy. There's center, and we'll null 1 degree low. Overall, time control is very responsive.
Would you like us to go to
not sure if it's the dead banding half a degree good motion, but I am doing a little bit more lateral correcting to keep it centered. And there's 1, 2 to catch it. All right. Big depth, about a tenth of a degree overshoot. We got some lateral 2.5 motion build up in there. Go left to correct that. Center. All right, 3 downs to bring it back to center. 1, 2, down and hold. For 1 degree, good motion, no cross coupling. Half a degree. And waiting for 1 full degree. Good motion. We had to stop. Do some opening half a degree. Right on the good motion. Starting to take out the good motion. There's half degree going back to the center. 3 downs, and we are centered. And so like that, it does seem to move a little bit more, but it's very responsive in the corrections, and so I was able to stop it right on the center. Holding at 2.6. 6x zoom going in. Yawing left. Ready. half a degree. All right, half inner circle for 60 seconds. And stopping it right on the vertical grid line. We had a little bit of a translation. Good back, jawing right, good motion, cross coupling, half a degree. Back to the center line, stop. Very, very nice control in the rotations. Go left to confirm motion. Good motion. And copy that, Dana. Thank you. Happy. Going back to center. Dana said looking out the window, she was able to perceive the motion of all of the alignment tests that we just did.
Houston, we're in step 18, ready for back away.
Copy, 15 seconds until center on center. That is course, showing course. 6 outs, starting now. 1, 2, 3, 6.
You're hearing the voice of pilot Victor Glover. He is backing away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, having completed this portion of the proximity operations demonstration. Once the interim cryogenic propulsion stage completes its thermal turn, they will begin using the target on the side of the ICPS.
All right, picking it back up in 4. Okay, the time's good.
Houston, translation is complete. Would you like us to go to step 16 or 18?
Glover is also able to control the brightness of the screen and of the docking camera that you see. Again, we are not docking today. This is a test of how Orion flies when done so manually and helps us prepare for future Artemis missions.
Center.
We did see the crew move in all the way to 10 meters from the ICPS. They are now backing away as was planned. The interim cryogenic propulsion stage will make a turn, and then the crew will fly in again and conduct some similar tests with a side docking target.
There's half a degree going back to the center. That's about 7. That's very responsive.
We're just over 4 hours since launch today, a very busy day for the crew.
All right, coming up on 1.5, going course. Half a degree. 1, 2, and stopping it right on the vertical grid line. We had a little bit of a translation. Back, going right, good motion, cross coupling, half a degree. Back to the center line, stop.
Confirmation the crew has completed backing away from the ICPS.
We're holding right at 1.5.
Expecting that thermal turn to happen in about 1 minute and 20 seconds.
All right, I'm zoom 1 motion to watch the thermal turn. Copy that, Dana. Thank you. Going back to
Glover is also able to choose the zoom on the docking target.
Motion of all the alignment tests that we just did.
Houston, we're in step 18, ready for back away.
This view on the left will allow us to also see the thermal turn.
Course, showing course. 6 outs, starting now. 1, 2, 3, 6.
You're hearing the voice of pilot Victor Glover. He is backing away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, having completed this portion of the proximity operations demonstration. Once the interim cryogenic propulsion stage completes its thermal turn, they will begin using the target on the side of the ICPS.
5 or 6. All right, picking it back up at 4. See the cross. 2 is pretty better picture. And I'm going to be course.
Glover is also able to control the brightness of the screen and of the docking camera that you see a thermal turn. Again, we are not docking today. This is a test of how Orion flies when done so manually and helps us prepare for future Artemis missions.
ICPS thermal turn, start.
We did see the crew move in all the way to 10 meters from the ICPS. They are now backing away as was planned. The interim cryogenic propulsion stage will make a turn, and then the crew will fly in again and conduct some similar tests with a side docking target. Great view of the ICPS that powered Orion during the perigee raise maneuver and apogee raise burn. We're just over 4 hours since launch today, a very busy day for the crew.
8. I can see the side docking target. All right, coming up on 1.5, going. That is a good looking American flag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in. It's 1.5.
Back away complete.
Again, this view coming from the docking camera on Orion, looking at the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. You can see that docking target down near the bottom of your screen.
1.5.
Expecting that thermal turn to happen in about
ICPS
1 minute and 20 seconds.
Complete.
All right, I'm Zoom 1X to watch the thermal turn.
Reminder, we are not docking today. This is a test of how it feels for pilot Victor Glover able to manually fly the spacecraft. Choose the zoom on the docking target. He's using the zoom feature on the docking camera to get exactly the view he wants as he prepares to move in. This view on the left will allow us to also see the thermal turn.
Copy. And docking target is about 1.75 degrees.
And Houston, we're holding at step 20, waiting for your go.
Stand by.
We're almost to 2 degrees wide.
And I just don't want to lose this in the data, Amy. The separation was way back when we separated from ICPS. It was very aggressive.
Integrity, you are go for approach to side target to 15 meters and to execute
Stand by
handling
for
quality
interim
test.
cryogenic propulsion stage to do a thermal turn.
8 pulses down our course. I see motion to IC pitch on ICPS.
We copy. ICPS thermal turn
It's
start.
almost 2 degrees wide. All right, here comes down.
On the display and out the window.
Course 1, 2, 3. Their course 8 down pulses, almost to 2 degrees wide, and here comes 4
Great view
outs.
of the ICPS that
1,
powered Orion
2,
during the perigee raise
4,
maneuver and apogee raise burn.
4, 5, 8. I can see the side docking target. All right, 2 plus or minus a quarter. That is a good looking
Houston,
American
15-meter
flag.
hold is confirmed.
Copy.
Copy.
Orion is now 15 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
A couple outs.
Again, this view coming from the docking camera on Orion, looking at the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. You can see that docking target down near the bottom of your screen.
1, 2, 3.
ICPS thermal
Good
turn
motion.
complete.
Lateral, we might have a tad bit of closure and coming right to.
Reminder, we are not docking today. This is a test of how it feels for pilot Victor Glover to manually fly the spacecraft.
About a quarter of a degree.
He's using the zoom feature on the docking camera to get exactly the view he wants as he prepares to move in and around the ICPS.
Half a degree. All right, here come the lefts to stop it. 1, 2. Docking target's about 1.75 degrees.
And Houston, we're holding at step 20, waiting for your go.
3 downs. 2, 3. Start measuring from the center. There's center. Good motion.
And Houston, with this sun angle, the white paint on the ICPS is
We're almost to 2 degrees
so
wide.
illuminated.
Half a
It's
degree.
very hard to look at with the naked eye. And I just don't want to lose this in the
Houston
data.
copy.
The separation was
3.
way back.
We picked up a little bit of motion to the left on ICPS.
Integrity, you are go for approach to side target to 15 meters and to execute handling quality test.
Up. 1, 2, 3 to bring it back to center. Also correcting our course.
We are picking
Good
up at
motion.
step 20. I'll copy.
We copy.
Oh, it's almost 2 degrees wide.
46 minutes since the start of the proximity operations demonstration.
Their course 2, almost to 2 degrees wide, and here comes 4 outs. 1, 2, 2.1 degrees wide.
The degrees you hear pilot Victor Glover reporting are the amount of space that the docking target is taking up in his view that you're seeing here on the docking camera.
Houston, 15-meter hold is confirmed.
Copy.
Copy. 6X, this is say.
Orion is now 15 meters away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
A couple outs.
They will not move in any closer.
Can you confirm 6X zoom is good for 21?
They're going to continue piloting the spacecraft.
Checking.
1, 2, 3. Good range. Good time.
6X zoom is good.
Lateral, we might have a tad bit of closure and coming right to 2. Alright. Okay, about a quarter of a degree. Less than a quarter of a degree up to 3 rights. 2.1 degrees wide. Alright, good range. Just inside 2. Just inside 15 meters. Half a degree. Alright, here come the low gain inputs. It's not doing a whole lot of commanding. It's holding quite steady. When I'm not doing anything, it's holding nice and steady. The camera and the vehicle are holding steady. It's almost at the center. I will get set up for center on center. 2 over backing hatch cross. Start measuring from the center. There's center. Good motion.
And Houston, with this sun angle, the white paint on these ICPS is so illuminated.
Half a degree. Alright, we're starting precision. A higher gain, higher frequency of inputs. It's very responsive. I just have picked up a little bit of motion to the left on ICPS. Lateral motion. Commanding. Stopping that, directing it back up. When I'm able to hold the magenta cross within the width of the black cross, also side left. Without good motion. I was talking, it went out, but overall, able to keep it centered. Less moderate or less effort. Okay, complete.
Houston, translation and test complete.
Very precise control.
46 minutes since the start of the proximity operations demonstration.
And Reid, you are coming in much lower volume than Victor.
Okay, I will speak up in the cabin mic.
2.1 degrees wide.
That's better, thanks.
The degrees you hear pilot Victor Glover reporting are again, pilot Victor Glover on the left side of your screen is taking up manually piloting the spacecraft that you're seeing here on the docking camera. Executing the 6 degrees of freedom, translating forward, backward, left, right, up, and down, and rotating the pitch, yaw, and roll of Orion in relation to the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Okay, I'm in 6X, ready.
And Houston, can you confirm 6X zoom is good for 21.3?
Checking.
Good range. Good time.
6X zoom is good.
Starting the lateral alignment test.
Left RHC, right on THC. Ready. Alright, and I'll get the yaw out to 2 degrees. Okay, it's there. Alright, good range. Okay, range inside 2. Inside 15 meters. Low gain
Integrity
inputs,
Houston,
not doing
no
a whole
action
lot
on
of
the caution
commanding. It's
warning
holding quite
messages.
steady. When I'm not doing anything, it's holding nice and steady. The camera and the vehicle are holding steady. It's almost at the center. Alright, lateral motion is, I'll get set up for center on center. Cross over 355 to cross 5. Alright, nice and stable, focusing on range. Out, got a little opening. Alright, and starting precision. A higher gain, higher frequency of inputs. That's some dynamics there at the beginning. I just have to make translation yaw because it does seem to pick up lateral motion. Able to correct it out without any problems. Moderate or less workload. Now it's very stable. I'm able to hold the magenta cross within the width of the black cross. 55 to 345, and at 345 we go. I was talking, it went out, but overall able to keep it centered. Less moderate or less effort. Okay, complete. 50 for 345.
Houston, translation and test complete.
Very precise control.
Copy, and you are go for the multi-axis test. And Reid, you are coming much lower volume than Victor.
Nice and stable. Range is good.
Okay, I will speak up in the
48 for 35, nice and stable, so we're in a good position to go course.
Again, pilot Victor Glover on the left side of your screen is manually piloting the spacecraft. The crew is executing the 6 degrees of freedom, 2 minutes away from their multi-degree of freedom, right up and down, and rotating the pitch, yaw, and roll of Orion in relation to the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
6. Course. Yeah, that rate gone down quite a bit. 55, there's picked up course. Yeah, the yaw rate had dropped off a bit. I put it back in. At 34, go discrete. Left RHC, right on THC. Ready? 342. Right, coming up on 3. All right, and I'll get the yaw out to 2 degrees. Okay, it's there. Right, left to stabilize. Okay, range is just outside of 2. All right, we are just outside.
Integrity Houston, no action on the caution warning messages.
Nice right at 2. Give it some in. Okay. Ready?
We copy that, Amy.
All right, lateral motion is held. Stand by. Okay, 355 for 355. All right, nice and stable, focusing on range. Out, got a little opening. Some ends to correct. Got some dynamics there at the beginning, going yaw, then translation yaw, take translation out of course, and able to correct it out without many problems. Moderate or less workload. Oscillating around center. Very stable. Just okay, I'm ready. That 50 for 345, and at 345 we go left. 50 for 345. All right. Got a good yaw rate. I'll watch the yaw rate closer this time. Fine. Nice and stable. Range is good. 48 for 35. Nice and stable, so we're in a good position to go course to fine. Back to, all right, going out. Go course. Out.
The crew is on the timeline and about 2 minutes away from their multi-degree of freedom yaw test.
All right, there we go. I see opening. Everybody concur? All right, thank you. I'm going to go back to fine. All right, that yaw rate is slightly dropping off. I'm 348. Yeah, that rate on down quite a bit. 35, there's picked up course. 355 going to 350 for 35. Yeah, the yaw rate had dropped off a bit. I put it back in. Okay, at 34, go discrete. .342. Right, coming up on 354. All right, there's pick course. Right, left to stabilize. All right, we are just again a little dynamic outside. At the beginning. Range is open to. Actually, we're looking nice right at 2. Stabilize all the motion and correct it. Okay, ready. Going up on 0. Course. Stand by. It's nice and stable. Oh yeah, you can see the some of the coating on the fabric on the behind the docking target moving as we. It's all right. We're stabilized. About 1.75.
Houston, yaw multi-axis test complete.
Copy.
Get out of course and just go fine to try to know a little bit. Oscillating around centered. Okay, I'm ready. Pick that. Okay, I think we've started the opening. Got a good yaw rate. I'll watch the yaw rate closer this time. Fine. Okay.
All right, Houston, we're in instruction 167.
I did that in before.
Not yet flight within 29, waiting your instructions.
Back to, all right, going out. So course out.
Reid, ready for you to go to instruction 169. You are go for the multi-axis maneuver biased tail to sun.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go back to fine. All right, that yaw rate is slightly dropping off. I'm 348. One more out.
Coming up on 1 hour since separation from the
355 going to
separation from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, again almost an hour ago, and now 4 hours and 20 minutes since liftoff. We are getting closer to the tail end of the ProxOps demonstration. Again, during this demonstration, Victor Glover, the pilot aboard Orion, was manually piloting the Orion spacecraft in relation to the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. You can see that ICPS on the left side of your screen, and that ICPS visible through the docking camera.
Stabilize all the motors. 356 for 353. Copy. 355.
Of course, we're not docking to anything on the Artemis II mission, but this test helps us understand how Orion flies manually and helps us prepare for future missions when we'll need to dock to a lunar lander.
Coating on the fabric on the behind the docking target moving as we. All right, we're stabilized. About 1.75.
The commands Glover has been sending to.
Have to throw another yaw in there to keep it at 0.2. Yeah.
Copy.
Overall, guys, this flies very nicely. Copy. 347 for pulse. I do.
What Glover is using to command the spacecraft, the translational and rotational hand controllers.
Very precise. 3x set. Okay, I think we've stopped the open. It's the 358. Pitch down, going in.
Orion is using the 24 reaction control system thrusters on the European service module.
Set.
Houston, we're in instruction 167.
All right, going back to center.
Flight within 29,
of course.
waiting your instructions.
Then getting the docking count, target back to center. Focus on being stable.
Reid, ready for you to go to instruction 169. You are go for the multi-axis maneuver biased tail to sun.
Like driving on a gravelly road. The response is quite immediate. Not all the axes are even. Roll is very, very slow.
Coming up on 1 hour since separation from the
are very snappy and responsive.
Separation from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, again almost an hour ago, and now 4 hours and 20 minutes since liftoff.
Very nicely balanced.
We are getting closer to the tail end of the ProxOps demonstration.
Affirm.
Again, during this demonstration, Victor Glover, the pilot aboard Orion, was manually piloting the Orion spacecraft in relation to the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. You can see that ICPS on the left side of your screen, and that ICPS visible through the docking camera.
1.75. Just going for 6 for 3.5. Happy 355.
25.
Of course, we're not docking to anything on the Artemis II mission, but this test helps us understand how Orion 15 meters away from the interim helps us prepare for future missions when we'll need to dock to a lunar lander. At the conclusion of the proximity operations demonstration,
minus 26.
For the DAP 18 authority DAP.
the commands Glover has been sending to.
I did have to throw another yaw in there to keep it at 0.2. Yeah. Overall, guys, this flies very nicely.
And Reid,
Copy,
please repeat.
347 for pulse.
Holding on instruction 185, Just want to make sure you are ready for DAP 18 and go for departure.
What Glover is using to command the spacecraft,
Go
the
for DAP 18
translational and
and go
rotational
for
hand
departure.
controllers.
Very precise. 3X set. Copy, Houston. That's in word. It's the
Capcom Amy
358.
Dill calling to the crew. They are go for departure from the interim
Orion is
cryogenic
using the
propulsion
24
stage.
reaction
control system thrusters on the European service module.
Houston, integrity departure initiated.
Copy.
Orion is
going
now
back to
backing
center.
away from the interim cryogenic
course.
propulsion stage. The proximity
keeping the dump
operations
cam target back to
demonstration is
center.
complete. Coming up next, we will have
stable.
the upper
Focus
stage
on being
separation
stable.
burn, providing distance between Orion and the
Yeah, the thruster
ICPS.
firings are a lot less aggressive than I thought it would sound or feel. Wow. Like driving on a gravelly road. The response is quite immediate. Great flying with you, Houston. Not all the X's are even. Roll is very, very slow.
Great job, Victor, and to the entire crew. And we enjoyed your excitement at seeing ICPS out the window.
And when you have the zoom set right, you can see very small motions, and so translations are all quite tight and very nicely balanced.
Bringing the exposure control down to 1 so we get some video. Let us know if you want that higher for
Affirm.
your bearing test.
Setting of 1 is good for us.
Auto inertial.
This is a live view from the Vehicle Ascent and Launch Operations
Just going
Room.
for stable.
This is Valor, the ULA launch team support room. They are responsible for observing any
Currently,
program
Orion
issues that may
is
require
about
their
15 meters
experience
away
to
from the interim
correctly
cryogenic
detect
propulsion
and
stage.
assess.
They've been monitoring the health of the ICPS prior to launch.
Houston, no action on the cautions.
DAP 18 authority DAP.
They've been monitoring ICPS since before launch, through launch, and obviously during the proximity operations until the ICPS end of mission.
And Reid, please repeat.
Holding on instruction 185, just want to make sure you are ready for DAP 18 and go for departure.
Back inside Orion, we are
Go for
expecting their
DAP 18
upper stage
and go for
separation
departure.
burn. Again, that will take them away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage very shortly.
That's in word.
The interim cryogenic propulsion stage will
Capcom
then
Amy
conduct its
Dill
own
calling to the
disposal
crew. They
burn
are go for
and will
departure
burn up
from
upon
the interim
re-entry
cryogenic
over
propulsion
Earth's
stage.
atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean.
Houston, integrity departure initiated.
Copy.
Orion is now backing away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. The proximity operations
This view
demonstration
of
is
the
complete.
interim cryogenic propulsion
Coming up
stage.
next, we will have the upper stage
Copy.
separation burn, providing distance between Orion and the ICPS.
Oh, wow, look at that.
4 hours, 27 minutes since Orion launched.
ICPS is stable in the dock cam field of view. We are
Copy, going off Fox. Great flying with you, Houston. Nice vehicle.
All manual THC input.
Great job, Victor, and to the entire crew, and we enjoyed your excitement at seeing ICPS out the window. Copy, Reid. Please take dock cam exposure to 0, wait 20 seconds, and then take back to 1.
Exposure control down to 1 so that we get some video. Let us know if you want that higher for your bearing test.
Thanks. Setting of 1 is good for us.
As you heard Capcom Amy Dill ask the crew, they are able to control the exposure that we see from the docking camera down on the bottom right side of your screen as the interim cryogenic propulsion stage gets farther and farther away. That's actually Orion backing away from the ICPS, having recently completed the proximity operations demonstration
Vehicle Ascent and
during
Launch
which pilot
Operations
Victor
Room.
Glover manually flew Orion. This is Valor, the ULA launch team support room. They are
On the left
responsible
side of
for
your screen,
observing
you can see Glover
any
in the
program
left.
issues that may require their experience to correctly detect
currently
and
in seat
assess,
1,
having conducted those prox ops. They've been
And on the
monitoring the
right
health
is
of the
NASA
ICPS
astronaut and
prior to
commander of
Artemis II, Reid
No
Wiseman.
action on the cautions.
And Houston,
They've been monitoring ICPS since before launch, through launch, and obviously during the proximity operations until the ICPS end of mission.
We're ready.
Back inside Orion, we are expecting their upper stage separation burn. Again, that will take them away from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage very shortly. The interim cryogenic propulsion stage will then conduct its own disposal burn and will burn up upon re-entry over Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean.
We're with you.
This view of the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Copy.
Four hours, 27 minutes since Orion launched.
ICPS is stable in the DocCam field of view. We are going to stay in authority DAP, and we are going to discontinue all manual THC inputs.
Copy, Reid. Please take DocCam exposure to 0, wait 20 seconds, and then take back to 1.
Mike has that in work.
Thanks.
4
As
hours
you heard
and 30 minutes since the crew, they are able to control the exposure that we see from the docking camera as integrity atop down on the bottom right side of your screen as the interim cryogenic at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Farther and farther away. That's actually Orion. The crew continues to back away from the ICPS, having recently completed the proximity operations demonstration, during which pilot Victor Glover manually put them in the high Earth orbit where they're at now. On the left side of your screen, you can see Glover in the Coming up shortly is the upper stage separation burn. He's currently in seat 1, having conducted those prox ops. And on the right is NASA astronaut and commander of Artemis II, Reid Wiseman. Provides what we need to distance Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage even further. The ICPS will have its own disposal burn.
Houston, for awareness, 2 minutes until ICPS maneuvers. We're ready.
Integrity copies. Houston, we are going to 12. Houston, we're checking with you at step 4 process 2 burn execution.
We're with you. Go to continue, ready for ATP.
Houston, ATP burn config is go.
Copy.
This view live in Artemis Mission Control here at Johnson Space Center in Houston as the Orbit 1 team continues monitoring the flight of Orion on the Artemis II mission. We've just completed the proximity operations demo during which pilot Victor Glover manually flew the Orion spacecraft, the first time anyone has done so. And we're preparing for the upper stage separation burn to separate Orion from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage even further. Major burns after 4 hours are using the OMS, the orbital today of service engine Orion, also referred to as the European Service Space Launch System rocket at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There are also some 24 reaction control system thrusters on the European Service Module, the ICPS, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage that was used for the perigee raise maneuver, and the apogee raise burn that put them in the high Earth orbit where they're at now. Coming up shortly is the upper stage separation burn.
Integrity ICPS maneuver
Upper stage
in work.
separation provides what we need to distance Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage even further. The ICPS will have its own disposal burn.
Houston, for awareness, 2 minutes until ICPS
The
maneuvers.
interim cryogenic propulsion stage making an additional maneuver ahead of the USS-2 burn. That USS-2 burn coming from Orion. The ICPS will have its own disposal burn and will burn up upon re-entry over the Pacific Ocean.
Houston, we're checking with you in step 4, burn config ATP.
Go to continue, ready for ATP.
Houston, ATP burn config is go.
Copy.
This view live in Artemis Mission Control here at Johnson Space Center in Houston as the Orbit 1 team continues monitoring the flight of Orion on the Artemis II mission. We've just completed the proximity operations demo during which pilot Victor Glover manually flew the Orion spacecraft, the first time anyone has done so. And we're preparing for the upper stage separation burn to separate Orion from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage even further. Major burns after this point are using the OMS, the Orbital Maneuvering Service Engine, on the European Service Module. There are also some 24 reaction control system thrusters on the European Service Module.
Integrity ICPS maneuver in work.
Integrity copies.
The interim cryogenic propulsion stage making an additional maneuver ahead of the USS-2 burn. That USS-2 burn coming from Orion. Again, live here in the ICPS will have its own disposal burn and will burn up upon re-entry over the Pacific Ocean. Just down the hall from the International Space Station Mission Control Room, also flying with humans aboard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have completed the proximity operations demonstration aboard Orion, and we are now looking ahead to the upper stage separation burn. This provides distance from between Orion and the ICPS. The ICPS will have its own disposal burn at about 5 hours MET. We are now 4 hours and 37 minutes MET, or time since launch. It's been a long day for the crew aboard Orion, and they still have a few tasks to complete before they can go to bed tonight. Of course, we'll have the upper stage separation burn that they will need to monitor. They'll continue doffing and stowing suits.
Houston's here.
Can you confirm what status you want us for suit drag?
Checking. And Integrity, can you confirm that you did the glove swap activity?
Negative, we did not do the glove swap activity.
All right, when able, you can do the glove swap activity, and then we'll need a 15-minute timer, and then we'll be ready to terminate suit drying.
Integrity.
Solar arrays are now in motion ahead of the USS 2 burn, the upper stage separation 2 burn. And with proximity operations complete,
again live here in
we will
Mission
look forward
Control
to hearing
Houston,
from
Artemis
pilot Victor
Mission
Glover
Control,
how it
to be
felt to
exact.
fly Orion
Just down the hall
just
from the
before his
International
launch. We got
Space
to
Station
ask him
Control
how it
Room,
felt
also flying
and how he was looking forward
with
to it.
humans
Aboard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We
As a
have
test
completed
pilot,
the proximity
the
operations
opportunity to
demonstration
fly a
aboard
spaceship
Orion,
is
and we
just
are now
a
looking
dream.
ahead
It's
to
unreal.
the upper
The
stage
piloting role
separation burn.
specifically,
This
I will
provides
have an
distance
hour and a
from
half or so where I
between
get to
Orion
fly the
and
spacecraft by
ICPS.
hand.
The ICPS
And
will
we
have its
fly
own
Orion a
disposal
lot in the
burn
simulator to train,
at about
but also
5
to build
hours
an experience
MET.
base
We
for
are now
how
4
the
hours
teams
and
on the ground
37
think
minutes
Orion's going to
MET,
work.
or
And then when
time
we fly
since
Orion in
launch.
space, we're actually going to compare the two to help them make better models. You know, my inner test pilot is like, of course, very excited about that. But really, the point of this is to make sure that Orion is a safe spacecraft so that we can go and do more complicated missions without having to think about, do we need to have a test pilot on every mission to fly this spacecraft?
It's
So
been a
far,
long day for the crew
I really
aboard
like the way
Orion,
Orion flies,
and they still have a few
but it's
tasks
only been
to
in the
complete before
simulator.
they can go
And so
to
the
bed
ability
tonight.
to
Of
fly
course, we'll
one
have the
actually
upper
in
stage
space
separation burn that
on
they
a
will need
test
to
mission
monitor.
is just a really unique
They'll
opportunity.
continue doffing and stowing suits.
Houston's here.
Again, those words from pilot Victor Glover before his flight aboard Orion, and reflecting on how it's been to fly Orion in the simulator for those proximity operations demonstrations. Now he has gotten to do the real thing today, with Prox Ops having just completed about 10 minutes ago. This view live inside Artemis Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston as the crew continues to move away from the ICPS
Integrity, can you
ahead
confirm
of that
that you
upper
did
stage
the glove
separation
swap
burn.
activity?
Negative, we did not do the glove swap activity.
All right, when able, you can do the glove swap activity, and then we'll need a 15-minute timer, and then we'll be ready to terminate suit drying.
Integrity.
All 4 solar arrays are now in position ahead of the upper stage separation burn.
Integrity Houston, we are checking on those cautions.
Solar arrays are now in motion ahead of the USS 2 burn, the upper stage separation 2 burn. And with proximity operations complete, into we the proper will look forward attitude to ahead hearing of that from upper pilot stage Victor separation Glover burn. How it felt to fly Orion, but just before his launch, we got to ask him how it felt and how he was looking forward to it.
As a test pilot, the opportunity to fly a spaceship is just a dream. It's unreal. The piloting role specifically, I will have an hour and a half or so where I get to fly the spacecraft by hand, and we fly Orion a lot in the simulator to train, but also to build an experience base for how the teams on the ground think Orion's going to work. And then when we fly Orion in space, we're actually going to compare the two to help them make better models. You know, my inner test pilot is like, of course, very excited about that. But really, the point of this is to make sure that Orion is a safe spacecraft so that we can go and do more complicated missions without having to think about, do we need to have a test pilot on every mission to fly this spacecraft? So far, I really like the way Orion flies, but it's only been in the simulator. And so the ability to fly one actually in space on a test mission is just a really unique opportunity.
Again, those words from pilot Victor Glover before his flight aboard Orion, and reflecting on how it's been to fly Orion in the simulator for those proximity operations demonstrations. Now he has gotten to do the real thing today, with Prox Ops having just completed about 10 minutes ago. This view live inside Artemis Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston as the crew continues to move away from the ICPS ahead of that upper stage separation burn. All 4 solar arrays are now in position ahead of the upper stage separation burn. Orion continuing to maneuver into its proper attitude ahead of the upper stage separation burn. After this burn, the crew has a little more work to do before they can go to sleep. It's been a long day for them, having woken up about 8 hours before launch. Orion is now maneuvering into the proper attitude ahead of that upper stage separation burn. The crew aboard Orion will continue stowing their suits and configuring the cabin as they need it for the duration of the flight.
At Integrity Houston, those caution warning messages for prop or xenon manifolds being used for maneuver to burn attitude still go for USS-2.
Integrity copy, still go for USS-2. Thanks for the updates. And the crescent Earth from almost 20,000 miles looks amazing.
Thanks for that report.
Upper stage separation burn for Orion coming up in about 4 minutes. We're now 4 hours and 46 minutes since liftoff. This view coming live from the spacecraft, looking at one of the solar arrays. Those solar arrays are now swept forward, and that protects them from any loads imparted when we conduct this upper stage separation burn. Orion continuing to maneuver into its proper attitude ahead of the upper stage separation burn. After this burn, the crew has a little more work to do before they can go to sleep. It's been a long day for them, having woken up about 8 hours before launch. The crew aboard Orion will continue stowing their suits and configuring the cabin as they need it for the duration of the flight.
At Integrity Houston, those caution warning messages for prop or xenon manifolds being used for maneuver to burn attitude
2
still
minutes
go
until
for
the
USS-2.
upper stage separation burn. This will be the last burn of the evening.
Integrity copy, still go
The crew will
for
continue
USS-2.
stowing their suits. They'll configure the cabin. They will also have their private medical conference. These are scheduled every single day to allow the crew to report how they're feeling down to team members here on Earth. Then they'll get into their pre-sleep and their sleep for the evening. They will only get a few hours of sleep to start. They're going to wake up essentially in the middle of this nap for the perigee raise burn. That burn will set us up for translunar injection tomorrow. And translunar injection burn is what will commit us to flying by the moon and also serves as our deorbit burn. Upper stage separation burn for Orion coming up in about 4 minutes. We're now 4 hours and 46 minutes since liftoff. This view coming live from the spacecraft, looking at one of the solar arrays. Less than a minute
The
now
solar
until
arrays are
the
now
upper stage
swept
separation
forward.
burn, and that protects them from any loads imparted when we conduct this upper stage separation burn.
Integrity Houston, no action on the ohms caution.
Two minutes until the upper stage separation burn. And we have confirmation of the upper stage segment burn start and complete. Very short burn. The crew will continue stowing their suits. They'll configure the cabin.
No action
they
on
will
the RCS prop cautions. We're
also have their private medical conference. These are scheduled every single day to allow the crew to report how they're feeling down to team members here on Earth.
And that is looking good. Attitude is stable.
Then they'll get into their pre-sleep and their sleep for the evening. They will only get a few hours of sleep to start. They're going to wake up essentially in the middle of this nap for the perigee raise burn. That burn will set us up for translunar injection tomorrow. And translunar injection burn is what will commit us to flying by the moon and also serves as our deorbit burn.
Integrity copies, good USS 2.
Confirmation of a successful USS-2 burn, upper stage separation. This view live from Orion. You can see on the right the solar array. You also heard some calls from Capcom Amy Dill to the crew about some less than a minute now until the upper stage separation burn aboard the spacecraft that they're looking into on the reaction control system thrusters, and no action is needed from the crew at this time.
Integrity Houston, no action on the ohms caution.
Houston Integrity and procedure 12.2.2515 USS-2 burn execution. Confirm you will complete remaining post-burn reconfig, and we will exit the procedure.
We concur. We'll take it from here.
And we have confirmation of the upper stage segment burn start and complete. Very short burn.
And Integrity Houston, no action on the RCS prop cautions. Let's taking a look.
Okay, copy. And we show about 10 seconds to go on a trim burn, and that is looking good. Attitude is stable.
With proximity operations complete and the upper stage separation burn complete as well. We are now looking to the ICPS, or interim cryogenic propulsion stage disposal burn. We will not see this or get data on it. It will burn up upon reentry over Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean.
Integrity Houston, good USS-2 burn.
Integrity copies, good USS-2. Houston Integrity, I'm going to request to suppress the SEMA 300.
Confirmation of a successful USS-2 burn, upper stage separation.
Copy and checking.
This view live from Orion. You can see on the right the solar
and
array.
We will suppress from the ground the CMS 300.
We've also heard some calls from Capcom Amy Dill to the crew about some cautions that they will see aboard the spacecraft that they're looking into on the reaction control system thrusters, and no action is needed from the crew at this time.
Houston integrity and procedure 12.2.2515 USS-2 burn execution. Confirm you will complete remaining post-burn reconfig, and we will exit the procedure.
We concur. We'll take it from here.
Copy, thank you.
With proximity operations complete and the upper stage separation burn complete as well, we are now looking to the ICPS, or interim cryogenic propulsion stage disposal burn. We will not see this or get data on it. It will burn up upon re-entry over Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean.
The mic about a half a centimeter from my mouth. How do you hear me right now? Houston integrity is going to request to suppress the CMS 300.
Copy and checking.
It's definitely better. 3 or 4 by 5.
It's a bit better. It's about 3 or 4 by 5. From the ground, the CMS 300 caution.
Okay, Amy, and now I am talking to you with the tip of the boom mic pressed against my upper lip, so I have lip contact on the mic. How's this now?
5 by 5.
Okay, I will let the crew know. Thank you.
We copy. In Integrity Houston on 1, whenever you're ready, we do have some toilet troubleshooting actions for you.
Houston integrity, very low priority. Let me know when you have 2 minutes for boom mic troubleshooting.
We have the time.
Okay, Houston. Okay, Amy, as we're learning how to use this mic, on toilet. In a we have one level with the mic for you. Let me know when you're ready to my mouth. How do you hear me right now?
We're ready for stowage, Delta.
Very, very simple. The PWD cover is in Foxtrot 2, not Foxtrot 3.
Let's tell them it's
we copy.
3 or 4 by 5.
It's a bit better. It's about 3 or 4 by 5.
Amy, just give us about 2 minutes and we'll be ready for the toilet orders. Okay, Amy, and now I am talking to you with the tip of the boom mic pressed against my upper lip, so I have lip contact on the mic. How's this now?
5 by 5.
Okay, I will let the crew know. Thank you.
We copy.
And we have confirmation that the interim cryogenic propulsion stage burn has started. Again, this is a disposal burn. The ICPS will re-enter Earth's atmosphere and harmlessly burn up over the Pacific Ocean. Additionally, we are expecting the CubeSats to be released soon. These will be released from the Orion stage adapter on the Space Launch System upper stage into a high Earth orbit, where they will conduct an orbital maneuver to reach their own desired orbit. These are 5 CubeSats from space agencies including Germany, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Argentina. They have their own distinct objectives completely separate from NASA's mission. And these CubeSats are shoebox-sized payloads that have the potential to expand our knowledge of the space environment. The German Space Agency, or DLR's Tacheles CubeSat, will measure effects of the space environment on electrical components to inform technologies for lunar vehicles. The Korea Aerospace Administration, or CASA's KRAD Cube, will use a dosimeter made of human-like tissue to measure space radiation and biological effects across the Van Allen radiation belts. The Saudi Space Agency's Saudi Geomagnetosphere Satellite, or SHMS CubeSat, will measure space weather at a range of distances from Earth. And Argentina's Comisión Nacional de Actividades Espaciales, or CONE, has a CubeSat called Etna, which will assess radiation shielding methods, measuring Earth's radiation spectrum, collecting GPS data, and validating a long-range communications link.
Standing by.
By working with other countries to fly these,
Houston's here.
Hey, Amy. Without knowing what's going on later this day, how important is the 4K encoder setup?
Checking.
Integrity Houston on 1 for timeline big picture.
All 4 crew members are here, Jeff.
Fantastic. Hey, it's been a great day, guys, and we're going to try and get you to bed a little bit early today. We do want to do the 4K encoder
and we have confirmation that the interim cryogenic propulsion stage burn has started. Again, this is a disposal burn. The ICPS will re-enter Earth's atmosphere and harmlessly burn up over the Pacific Ocean.
And then get you guys to bed a little bit early. That's what we're thinking down here.
Additionally, we are expecting the CubeSats to be released soon. These will be released from the Orion stage adapter on the Space Launch System upper stage into a high Earth orbit, where they will conduct an orbital maneuver to reach their own desired orbit. These are 5 CubeSats from space agencies including Germany, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Argentina. They have their own distinct objectives completely separate from NASA's mission. And these CubeSats are shoebox-sized payloads that have the potential to expand our knowledge of the space environment. The German Space Agency, or DLR's Tacheles CubeSat, will measure effects of the space environment on electrical components to inform technologies for lunar vehicles. The Korea Aerospace Administration, or CASA's KRAD cube, will use a dosimeter made of human-like tissue to measure space radiation and biological effects across the Van Allen radiation belts. The Saudi Space Agency's Saudi Geomagnetosphere Satellite, or SHMS CubeSat, will measure space weather at a range of distances from Earth. And Argentina's Comisión Nacional de Actividades Espaciales, or CONE, has a CubeSat called Etna, which will assess radiation shielding methods, measuring Earth's radiation spectrum, collecting GPS data, and validating a long-range communications link. By working with other countries to fly these,
if you are happy with what what Victor and Jeremy are doing, I will hand the comm and the toilet lead over to Christina. Hey, Amy, without knowing what's going on later this day, how important is the 4K encoder setup?
Checking.
This view inside Mission Control Houston, specifically Artemis Mission Control, as the crew was reporting down some of their tasks that they're continuing to work on at the end of this flight day. It's been a very busy day for the crew so far, again waking up about 8 hours before liftoff, which was now 5 hours and 5 minutes ago.
All 4 crew members are here, Jeff.
After a successful ride to orbit, they saw the perigee raise maneuver, the apogee raise burn, and got into the proximity operations demonstration. They then conducted the upper stage separation burn to depart the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Ideally, we'd get that done here in the next hour or so, along with the conferences,
inside the cabin to
and then get you guys to bed a little bit early.
To configure where they will stow their suits. And we'll eventually get into some pre-sleep and sleep opportunities before the apogee raise burn in the middle of the night.
Jeff, that all sounds great to us. I have a couple pieces of information if you have no further updates.
All right, we're ready to copy.
That'll actually be the perigee raise burn in the middle of the night. They will wake up from a brief nap and monitor that perigee raise burn before getting some more sleep and starting their next flight day tomorrow.
And we show that we have had glove swap for about 15 minutes, so we could probably move on there. How copy?
Integrity Houston, we back with you.
Okay, Jeremy is going to be the cabin config supervisor. Amy, we have you going to get into cabin config, but as his first activity,
and last we copied is that Christina will work toilet troubleshooting.
And then you will work 4K encoder, and I will help him. How copy?
That's a good read, and I'm ready for those words when you are.
Okay, Christina, first, we do not think empty oxone beads were installed for launch, so we do not suspect a blockage. We think it could be a priming issue. So the first thing we'd like you to do is to verify the toilet air filter barrier is removed. And I have a step number from toilet prep and activation procedure if you need it. Let us know when that's complete, stand by for and then we're going to power cycle the toilet from the ground and have further steps for you.
Okay, I copy all. Before we continue, are we go to swap the suit drying?
This view inside Mission Control Houston, specifically Artemis Mission Control, as the crew was reporting down some of their tasks that they're continuing to work on at the end of this flight day. It's been a very busy day for the crew so far, again waking up about 8 hours before liftoff, which was now 5 hours and 5 minutes ago. After a successful ride to orbit, they saw the perigee raise maneuver, the apogee raise burn, and got into the proximity operations demonstration. They then conducted the upper stage separation burn to depart the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. That's put us into our current configuration. The crew is working inside the cabin to configure it, to configure where they will stow their suits, and we'll eventually get into some pre-sleep and sleep opportunities before the apogee raise burn in the middle of the night.
We are going to power cycle the toilet, and then we'll give you a call back to attempt reactivation with removing the urine hose from the cradle and allowed to run for 1 minute. And then we would also like you to have available 250 milliliters of water.
That'll actually be the perigee raise burn in the middle of the night. They will wake up from a brief nap and monitor that perigee raise burn before getting some more sleep and starting their next flight day tomorrow.
Integrity Houston, back with you.
Amy, we have you loud and clear.
Same, and last we copied is that Christina will work toilet troubleshooting.
Crew aboard Orion, specifically Christina Koch, NASA astronaut and mission specialist, continuing to troubleshoot the issues they saw earlier with the toilet.
We do not
The
think
teams here on the ground
beads were
are
installed
relaying
for launch, so we do not
instructions
suspect a
on how
blockage.
to resolve that
we think
situation.
It could be a priming issue. So the first thing we'd like you to do is to verify the toilet air filter barrier is removed. And I have a step number from toilet setup and activation procedure if you need it. Let us know when that's complete, and then we're going to power cycle the toilet from the ground and have further steps for you.
Okay, I copy all. Before we continue, are we go to swap the suit drying? And correction, are we go to terminate the suit drying?
Go for suit drying termination.
Copy. And Amy, for the air filter barrier removal, is that the nominal removal that's in the toilet setup and activation procedure that I ran?
Affirm, it was step 5.
Yes, I did complete that step.
Copy, standby.
Capcom, let them know we're repowering, and once that's done, it'll be attempt to use.
Okay, copy. We are going to power cycle the toilet, and then we'll give you a call back to attempt reactivation with removing the urine hose from the cradle and allowed to run for 1 minute. And then we would also like you to have available 250 milliliters of water. We're not ready for that yet. We'll let you know when the power cycle is complete.
Copy.
Crew aboard Orion, specifically Christina Koch, NASA astronaut and mission specialist, continuing to troubleshoot the issues they saw earlier with the toilet. The teams here on the ground are relaying up instructions on how to resolve that situation.
Integrity Houston for cab camera 2.
Go ahead.
Hey, Christina, for your and the crew's awareness, you may see the cab camera 2 light turn on. We are not streaming video. We're just getting a listing of files.
Copy.
And Integrity Houston for Christina and toilet troubleshooting.
Go ahead.
Okay, Christina, we're ready for you to attempt reactivation of toilet by removing the urine hose from the cradle. Please allow it to run for 1 minute, and then if that's joy, you can deactivate toilet and give us a call.
Copy, and understand I'm not putting the water in the funnel at this time.
Correct. Not yet. Not for this time.
In work.
Capcom Amy Dill relaying some words to NASA astronaut Christina Koch on how to troubleshoot the toilet issue they experienced earlier. We should hear shortly the resolution of that issue. This view from Mission Control Houston, Artemis Mission Control, now 5 hours and 14 minutes since liftoff of Orion atop the Space Launch System.
Integrity Houston for cab camera 2.
Go ahead.
Hey, Christina, for your and the crew's awareness, you may see the cab camera 2 light turn on. We are not streaming video. We're just getting a listing of files.
Copy.
And Integrity Houston for Christina and toilet troubleshooting.
Go ahead.
Okay, Christina, we're ready for you to attempt reactivation of toilet by removing the urine hose from the cradle. Please allow it to run for 1 minute, and then if that's joy, you can deactivate toilet
Houston,
and give us a call.
integrity, test complete, good status light, good flow for the entire test. Copy, and understand I'm not putting the water in the funnel at this time.
Okay. Good news, Christina,
Correct.
and we are
Not
discussing
yet,
next
not
steps.
for this time.
Stand by.
In work.
Capcom Amy Dill relaying some words to NASA astronaut Christina Koch on how to troubleshoot the toilet issue they experienced earlier. We should hear shortly the resolution of that issue. This view from Mission Control Houston, Artemis Mission Control, now 5 hours and 14 minutes since liftoff of Orion atop the Space Launch System. NASA astronaut Christina Koch reporting they had a successful test of the toilet.
And Integrity Houston, Christina for toilet troubleshooting next step.
Go.
Okay, we're going to have you reactivate toilet with the removing the urine hose from the cradle. Please allow it to run for 1 minute, then add 250 milliliters of water, and then allow it to run for at least another 30 seconds and report how that went.
In work.
Continuing to execute those tests to make sure the toilet is up and running properly. Also on the timeline for the crew tonight is an AGA reading, or an anomaly gas analyzer checkout. They will test the air inside the cabin. They do this a couple of times a day to make sure that the environment inside the Orion spacecraft is as we expect. Again, this is the first time we've ever flown humans aboard Orion. It is a test flight, and so we're testing every single specification possible in preparation for future missions.
Houston, integrity, test complete, good status light, good flow for the entire test.
Okay. Good news, Christina, and we are discussing next step. Stand by.
NASA astronaut Christina Koch reporting they had a successful test of the toilet.
And integrity, Houston, Christina for toilet troubleshooting next step.
Go.
Okay, we're going to have you reactivate toilet with the removing the urine hose from the cradle. Please allow it to run for 1 minute, then add 250 milliliters of water, and then allow it to run for at least another 30 seconds and report how that went.
In work.
Continuing to execute those tests to make sure the toilet is up and running properly. Also on the timeline for the crew tonight is an AGA reading, or an anomaly gas analyzer checkout. They will test the air inside the cabin. They do this a couple of times a day to make sure that the environment inside the Orion spacecraft is as we expect. Again, this is the first time we've ever flown humans aboard Orion. It is a test flight, and so we're testing every single specification possible in preparation for future missions. As you heard, NASA astronaut Christina Koch called down to the ground. She had a second good checkout of the toilet, and teams here are discussing whether they want to pursue any further steps.
Houston, integrity, good checkout.
Okay, excellent news, Christina, and we are discussing if there's anything further we need.
And at this time, we expect those 4 secondary CubeSat payloads that were on the Space Launch System are expected to have completed their deployment based on their own timers. Now, we don't have direct confirmation of this, as you heard, payload NASA teams will be able to communicate with and track their CubeSats. She had a second good checkout of the toilet, and teams here are discussing whether they want to pursue any further steps.
Integrity Houston for toilet status.
Go.
Happy to report that toilet is go for use. We do recommend letting the system get up to operating speed before donating fluid, and then let it run a little bit after donation.
We are cheers all around, and we will do that. Regarding the same, we have 1 CCU that will need to be emptied.
We thought you might, so we went ahead and warmed up the heater, so you're good to empty the CCU at your convenience.
We copy all. Thank you.
And correction, we actually want you to hold off for now on the CCU emptying for potential GNC impacts. So we'll let you know when we're ready for that.
Understood.
Further confirmation from the ground teams and crew that the secondary CubeSat payloads issues that were on the Space Launch System are expected to have completed their deployment based on their own timers. Now, we don't have direct confirmation of this, but the payload teams will be able to communicate with and track their CubeSats. I'm NASA's PAO Leah Cheshire Mustachio here in Artemis Mission Control, and I'm joined by Dave Dennemiller. He is the Deputy Manager for Orion Guidance, Navigation, and Control. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Integrity Houston for
So tell me about
status.
your role, and I believe you just came from the MER, is that right?
Yeah, we just came from the MER. I lead a team of people who developed the guidance, navigation, and control system for Orion. It's kind of a mouthful, but basically, where are we? How do we get to where we want to go?
Letting the system get up to operating speed before donating fluid, and then let it run a little bit after donation.
Flight controllers, and we developed the ProxOps demo and all the other flight ops that we're doing on Artemis II.
We are cheers all around.
Well, now that we're through the ProxOps demo, I would love to hear about what your team was hoping to learn during that demonstration.
Yeah, it's a very important data collection activity on Artemis II. There are basically three categories of things we wanted to learn.
We thought you might, so we went ahead and warmed up the heater, so you're good to empty the CCU at your convenience.
People. So we start with the docking camera view that you saw on the NASA TV.
And correction, we actually want you to hold off for now on the CCU emptying
the crew has to interpret that image and decide
so
what
we'll
to do.
let you know when we're ready for that.
And they make commands to the computer and the hand controllers that you saw the crew members deflecting. And those go through our algorithms to determine which jets to fire.
Further confirmation from the ground teams and crew that the toilet issues have been resolved.
Causes the vehicle to move, which goes back to the docking camera again. So it's a big loop.
Planned.
And the ProxOps was testing that whole loop to see how it worked. The second category of thing is the docking camera. Cameras in space have historically had problems because the space lighting is very, very tough on cameras. The brights are very bright and the darks are very dark, very high contrast environment. So we've done all the testing we can with the camera on the ground, but there's nothing like testing it in the space environment to see how it will really work. And then the third category of thing is that when we got in close to the ICPS, we're doing very, very, very small maneuvers. They're less than 1/100th of a meter per second velocity change of the vehicle. They're so low that our IMU can't detect them, so we need a target vehicle out in front of us so that we can actually see the motion. So we collected all that data, and now we have some stuff to look at post-flight.
That's fascinating. And I know pilot Victor Glover was really excited Cheshire Mustachio here in Artemis Mission Control, and I'm joined by really Dave Dennemiller. We are getting the Deputy Manager for Orion Guidance, Navigation, and Control. Thanks for joining us tonight. And that may be the... So tell me about your role, and I believe you just came from the MER, is that right?
Yeah, we just came from the MER. I lead a team of people who developed the guidance, navigation, and control system for Orion. It's kind of a mouthful, but basically, where are we? How do we get to where we want to go?
It actually looks like a crescent Earth there in the background. This view coming from one of the solar array wing cameras aboard Orion.
Flight controllers, and we developed the ProxOps demo and all the other flight ops that we're doing on Artemis II.
Well, now that we're through the ProxOps demo, I would love to hear about what your team was hoping to learn during that demonstration.
Yeah, it's a very important data collection activity on Artemis II.
Can dump the CCU. One option
there's basically
is today
three categories of things we wanted to learn.
3-5 minutes,
controlling the vehicle involves a whole loop of hardware, software, and people.
For you to empty the CCU tomorrow.
We start with the docking camera view that you saw on the NASA TV. and that goes to the display unit that the crew looks at. The crew has to interpret that image and decide what to do. And they make commands to the computer in the hand controllers that you saw the crew members deflecting. And those go through our algorithms to determine which jets to fire, and then we have some electronics to pass those commands along. And that causes the vehicle to move, which goes back to the docking camera again. So it's a big loop, and the ProxOps was testing that whole loop to see how it worked. The second category of thing
Christina,
is
we'll
the
come
docking
back to you
camera.
around that time, letting you know when you're go to
cameras
dump
in
the
space
CPU.
have historically had problems because the space lighting is very, very tough on cameras. The brights are very bright and the darks are very dark. Very high contrast
Some more
environment.
communications
So
with the crew
we've done all
aboard
the testing
Orion,
we
calling
can
down
with the
to
camera on the
Capcom
ground,
Amy
but
Dill.
there's nothing like
And
testing
this
it in
view
the
on
space
your screen,
environment to see
that
how
is
it will
Earth
really
in the
work.
center of your screen
And then
from
third category
the
of
Orion
thing is that
spacecraft. Again, a camera
when we got
mounted
in
aboard the
close to the
spacecraft's solar
ICPS,
array wing,
we're
looking
doing
back
very,
at
very,
all of
very
us.
small maneuvers. They're less than
Now I want to get back
$100th
to our
of a meter per
interview.
second
Dave,
velocity
the Deputy
change of the
Manager
vehicle.
of Guidance,
They're so
Navigation, and
low
Control
that
for
our
Orion,
IMU can't
talking about
detect them,
ProxOps,
so
a really
we need a
dynamic
target
time,
vehicle
and
out
we
in
heard
front of
from
us so that
NASA
we can
astronaut
actually
Victor
see
Glover
the
the
motion.
entire time that he
So
was
we collected
piloting
all
the
that
spacecraft,
data,
and I know
and
that's
now we have
additional
some
information
stuff
for
to
your
look at
team as
this
well.
way.
So
That's
what will
fascinating.
you
And I know
interpret
Pilot Victor
from
Glover was
the
really
information
excited
about the
to
spacecraft that Victor called
see
down?
Yeah, the cruise
and
comments,
really quickly,
Victor's
we are
in
getting an
particular, are very
amazing view
important
right
to us.
now, I believe,
Obviously, when the crew is
from
manually
Orion,
controlling
and
the
that may be
spacecraft, we're
the
interested in that task being
Earth or the moon
easy
in the
for
very
them to accomplish.
background.
So Victor was given a lot of feedback while he was flying. It shows his test pilot background, because that's what test pilots do. They mention the good, the bad, and the ugly.
It actually looks like a crescent Earth there in the background. This view coming from one of the solar array wing cameras
going to get a score
aboard
from them of how
Orion.
Orion did. It's called handling qualities. It's a time-tested
Integrity
tradition
Houston for
in the
CCU
aircraft
answer.
world that we adopted for spaceflight back in the shuttle days. So they will give us. They will actually give us a score. It's called a handling quality score.
Christina, two
Fascinating.
options for when
So
you can
once
dump
you
the CCU. One
get
option
that
is
score from
today
them, when will
at
you get
MET,
that? And
6
then
hours,
what will you
35 minutes,
do
which was
to
during
digest that
a
feedback? What's
planned
next for your
dump
team?
time
Yeah,
for
we'll
us.
dive into
Or
all
we
of
can
this.
find
We
a
look
time
at the
for you to
video
empty the
and look
CCU
at the
tomorrow.
commands that the pilots made, that Victor made, and the way the system responded, and look at the video to make sure the vehicle did what we expected it to do. And we'll look at all of that afterwards. We've gotten Victor's comments live now, but we'll get more post-flight when we interview the crew post-flight.
Well, that's great. And I know that this is not the only time during the mission that the crew is manually flying the vehicle. There's a manual piloting demo coming up in a few days. So is there anything that your team learned today that helps inform how that demo will go, or any preparations?
Yeah, there's actually lots of different kinds of manual piloting tasks. The one
Copy, Christina,
that
and
we
we'll
did
come back
today
to
is
you
one of the
around
more
that time, letting
complex
you know when
ones.
you're go to
We did it
dump the
first
CCU.
because we needed the ICPS to be there, and the ICPS, we had a limited amount of time before it had to perform its disposal burn. So we've
some more
these other
communications with
tasks
the crew
don't
aboard
require an
Orion, calling
ICPS.
down
We'll
to
be doing some
Capcom Amy
tasks
Dill.
of pointing the
And
vehicle.
this view on your
We'll
screen,
ask
that is Earth
the
in the
crew to
center of
point
your
at a
screen
star
from
to
the
simulate
Orion
a
spacecraft.
future
Again, a camera
operation
mounted
where we
aboard the
need to point the
spacecraft's
vehicle at a
solar
target,
array wing,
long
looking
range,
back
while the
at
target's
all of
still at
us.
long range. So there's
Now I want to
just
get back
lots.
to our
We're gonna
interview. Dave,
turn
the
jets
Deputy
off
Manager
to
of
simulate a
Guidance,
degraded
Navigation,
control
and
system
Control
and
for Orion,
see how the
talking about
control system
ProxOps, a
responds.
really
So we have
dynamic
a
time,
lot of
and we
other
heard
manual
from
control
NASA astronaut
tasks
Victor
coming up.
Glover the entire
Definitely
time that
a
he was
lot of
piloting the
action still to come
spacecraft,
for
and
your
I know
crew.
that's
Yeah, and
additional
all this
information
is,
for your team as well. So
we're
what
simulating
will
stuff
you
that we
interpret
need to,
from the
we're not
information
simulating, we're
about the
flying stuff
spacecraft
we
that
need
Victor
to
called
fly
down?
on a future the flight.
cruise comments,
Victor's
so
by being able to do it now if we see any funnies in the data or decide we need to make any corrections, the spacecraft we're interested in that task being the Artemis III flight. Easy for them to accomplish. This is really risk buy-down. So Victor was given a lot of feedback while he was flying. Get some of the system tests behind shows his test pilot first docking because that's what test pilots do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a test flight, and with that, I would love to know how you feel after
it's
a
very
crew has now piloted Orion for the very first time.
To get a score from them of how Orion did. It's always a great feeling to see something that your team developed in the aircraft. Real world that around for a while of space flight many times in the shuttle days. So they will give us they will actually give us a score. It's called to actually fly and see your stuff.
Fascinating. So once you
I can only imagine.
get that
I'm so
score
excited
from
for
them,
your team.
when will you get that?
Congratulations.
And then
we can't wait to see
to
everything that is
digest
to
that
come in
feedback.
the
What's
upcoming
next
days.
for
So
your
thank
team?
you again so
Yeah,
much
we'll
for joining
dive
us.
into all of
Dave
this.
Dennemiller,
Look at the
Deputy
video
Manager
and
for
look at
Orion's
the
Guidance,
commands that
Navigation,
the
and
pilots
Control
made. It was
Systems.
fun. Victor made 9 more days of fun. Way the system
Let's do it.
responded, and look at the video to make sure the vehicle did what we expected it to do. And we'll look at all of that afterwards. We've gotten Victor's comments live now, but we'll get more post-flight when we interview the crew post-flight.
Well, that's great. And I know that this is not the only time during the mission that the crew is manually flying the vehicle. There's a manual piloting demo coming up in a few days. So is there anything that your team learned today that helps inform how that demo will go, or any preparations?
Yeah, there's actually lots of different kinds of manual piloting tasks. The one that we did today is one of the more complex ones. We did it first because we needed the ICPS to be there, and the ICPS, we had a limited amount of time before it had to perform its disposal burn. So these other tasks don't require an ICPS. We'll be doing some tasks of pointing the vehicle. We'll ask the crew to point at a star to simulate a future operation where we need to point the vehicle at a target at long range while the target's still at long range. So there's just lots. We're going to turn jets off to simulate a degraded control system and see how the control system responds. So we have a lot of other manual control tasks coming up.
Definitely a lot of action still to come for your group.
Yeah, and all this is
this beautiful view.
We're simulating stuff that we
coming
need
from
to,
Orion.
We're not simulating.
On
we're
the
flying
Artemis
stuff
II mission,
that we need
and
to fly
a
on
camera
future
on
flight.
the spacecraft's solar
So by
array
being
wing.
able to do it now,
Looking
if
back
we see any
at all
funnies
of
in the
us
data
here
or decide
on
we
Earth.
need to make any corrections,
Spacecraft
we have
now
time to
over
make those corrections before
27,000 miles
the Artemis
away
III
from our
flight.
home
So
planet.
This is really risk buy down for Artemis III. That's why we're doing this, is to get some of the system tests behind us before we fly the first dockings for real on Artemis III.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a test flight. And with that, I would love to know how you feel after a crew has now piloted Orion for the very first time.
Oh, it's always a great feeling to see something that your team developed go fly for real. I've been around for a while. I've seen this many times, but the luster never fades. It's always fun to actually fly and see your stuff in operation.
I can only imagine. I'm so excited for your team. Congratulations. And we can't wait to see everything that is to come in the upcoming days. So thank you again so much for joining us, Dave Dennemiller, Deputy Manager for Orion's Guidance, Navigation, and Control Systems.
It was fun. We got 9 more days of fun.
Let's do it. This beautiful view coming from Orion on the Artemis II mission, and a camera on the spacecraft's solar array wing, looking back at all of us here on Earth. Spacecraft now over 27,000 miles away from our home planet. We are now 5 hours and 45 minutes mission elapsed time, or 5 hours and 45 minutes since launch of the Artemis II mission. This view looking back on Earth from one of the cameras on the spacecraft's solar array wing. Things will start to get a little quieter from the crew. Of course, we heard quite a lot from them during the PROX operations demonstration when pilot Victor Glover manually flew the spacecraft around the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. With that complete, the crew conducted some troubleshooting for toilet issues they were experiencing earlier, and those have been resolved. They also continued drying and stowing their suits, configuring the cabin for the mission. They will have a private medical conference later today as well to report how they're feeling to teams on the ground. And eventually they'll be able to get into some sleep. Of course, this is not a full night's sleep as they will have the rest of the mission because they will move into a perigee raise burn. That perigee raise burn timelined for 12 hours and 55 minutes mission elapsed time, so just about 7 hours from now. After that perigee raise burn, they'll get the opportunity to get a few more hours sleep before waking up tomorrow and starting another day. We are now 5 hours and 45 minutes mission elapsed time, or 5 hours and 45 minutes since launch of the Artemis II mission. This view looking back on Earth from one of the cameras on the spacecraft's solar array wing. Things will start to get a little quieter from the crew. Of course, we heard quite a lot from them during the PROX operations demonstration when pilot Victor Glover manually flew the spacecraft around the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. With that complete, the crew conducted some troubleshooting for toilet issues they were experiencing earlier, and those have been resolved. They also continued drying and stowing their suits, configuring the cabin for the mission. They will have a private medical conference later today as well to report how they're feeling to teams on the ground. And eventually they'll be able to get into some sleep. Of course, this is not a full night's sleep as they will have the rest of the mission because they will move into a perigee raise burn. That perigee raise burn timelined for 12 hours and 55 minutes mission elapsed time, so just about 7 hours from now. After that perigee raise burn, they'll get the opportunity to get a few more hours sleep before waking up tomorrow and starting another day.